Chapter 201. The Purpose of the Green Essence. The battle between the Green Elves and the Ancient of War was extremely long and boring. The combatants are constantly changing and repeating the routine. When I was young, there were only dozens of green spirits. For a long time, there were thousands of them. With the Beastmaster as the main attack, and the green spirit soldiers as the assistant, the ancient war tree is constantly forced to consume its vitality. Since the IQ of the ancient war tree is low, after being angered, it is obviously unnecessary, but every time he attacks, he still tries his best. Through the eye of reality, we can clearly see that the vitality of the ancient war tree is being diminished bit by bit. This ancient war tree, according to this progress, will be killed in about a month. Provided there are no surprises. The ancient war tree not only has tenacious vitality, but also has an astonishing recovery speed. As long as there is a little gap in the ancient war tree, a lot of vitality can be restored in a short period of time, and a few days will be wasted. Moreover, there are other ancient war trees in the Ludoka mountain range. It's like walking on a tightrope. The battlefield is constantly moving. After there were no plants around that could be controlled, the ancient tree of war instinctively moved towards the direction where there were more plants. While hindering the movement of the ancient war tree, the green spirits cleared away the surrounding plants. Sometimes it is the green spirit who actively lures the ancient of war away. Because there are other ancient war trees moving this way. After just watching for a while, Will lost interest in this boring war. Hey! When he was about to leave, he noticed something unusual. The 5 green spirits surrounded the ancient war tree, pointed their hands at the ancient war tree, and continuously released a strange wave of mental power. Before, Will noticed these special green spirits. But thinking that it was the green spirit who used mental power to weaken a part of the ancient war tree, he didn't take it too seriously. Looking closely now, it seems odd. In Will's mind, a thought that startled him came to mind: don't they want to kill the ancient tree of war? They want to tame it. The Beastmaster of the Green Spirit family can contract animals for his own use. Beastmasters are not limited to animals for contracting. Plants may also be able to do it. The IQ of the ancient war tree is not high, so it is within the scope of the contract. The more I thought about it, the more I realized it was possible. The ancient war tree is powerful, tenacious, and long-lived. A third-class apprentice who can live for thousands of years. Still 17. If tamed, even if it pays a great price, it is worth it. It turned out that was the idea. Before, he had been wondering what the green spirit did, but now that he thought about it, if the green spirit's goal was the ancient contract war tree, it would make sense. The ancient tree of war moves slowly and is too big to easily injure its own people. It is very difficult to send it to the front line to fight. But it only needs to put 1 or 2 ancient war trees in each war castle. As long as the official wizards don't take action, it can be called an unbreakable fortress. 10 years of time in exchange for thousands of years of stability? The decision was bold and visionary. I'm afraid the Green Spirit executives have discussed it for a long time, right? Maybe that spiritual master also spoke out? Will, who was planning to leave, stopped after realizing the purpose of the Green Elves. I bumped into you, it's your bad luck. Will definitely not stand by and watch them succeed. Even if it cannot be stopped, they will have to pay a greater price, greatly delaying their success. You have spent such a large amount of troops here, the front line must be empty. I will disclose this news to Commander Taylor and the others. During this period of time, the human side will definitely gain a great advantage in the war, and maybe they can force the Green Elves we abandon the plan of the ancient tree of contract war. Of course, these are issues that will be considered after going back and forth, the transmission of news, the deployment of troops, and preparations for war. It is impossible to fight without a few months. And why do people believe him? How to explain the existence of the ancient war tree to the army? How should I explain the disappearance of Susha, Im, and Franro? After returning to Kawa City, there are still many troubles. Let's do it yourself first. Will considered what to do. What should be done to make the plan of the ancient tree of green spirit contract war fail? Or make them pay a greater price to achieve their goals? Kill the ancient war tree? This idea just came up and was immediately rejected by him. Kill the ancient tree of war? Thinking too much. The ancient tree of war has tenacious vitality. It is extremely difficult to kill if it stands still and does not resist and let him attack. Not to mention that there are a bunch of green spirits around. The Green Essence clan also has existences that can be equal to the third-class apprentices. If it is too messy, it will be too late to regret it. It would be best if he could not reveal his whereabouts. Kill the green spirit who can contract the ancient tree of war? The more powerful the existence, the more difficult the contract, and the more mental power it needs to consume. There should be very few green elves who can contract ancient war trees and ancient trees in the kingdom of Casta green elves. This time, it was hard to get 17 out. If he killed 17 beast masters at once, it was really uncertain whether Casta kingdom could find 17 more qualified beast masters. You can think about it. After thinking about it, I still feel that the method is the most reliable. Next, it's time to think about how to implement it. It is not enough to have ideas without action. The right idea is nothing if you can't put it into action. Beast masters are not good at melee combat. Beast masters without contracted beasts are not as capable as a quasi-knight. As long as they can get close, it doesn't take a second to kill them. However, there must be guards around the beast master. How many guards? How strong is it? Staffing? The 17 beast masters definitely didn't sleep together. When they gather, it must be the time when the protective force is the strongest. Should we wait for them to scatter and kill them one by one, or wait for them to gather together and annihilate them in one fell swoop? There are too many details to consider. Then, the first thing is to understand the power of the green elves. It can be seen that the green spirits have dispatched an army, and there are probably thousands of green spirits. How many green spirits are there exactly? There are many beast masters, and it is conservatively estimated that there are more than 10. Is that 15 or 16? What are the summoned beasts of the beast masters? What abilities do they have? Know yourself and the enemy, and you will never be imperiled in 100 battles. For his own strength, Will thinks he still has a little understanding. Next, you only need to understand the opponent's strength. Thinking, Will's figure flickered and disappeared in place. Concealing his figure, he touched the green spirit's base camp. Green spirits are master hunters. But Will is in the light, and the green spirits are in the dark, and he thinks his hiding ability is pretty good. At least 99.9% of the green spirits can't find him. Green essence is very scattered. It is necessary to deploy 17 ancient war trees at the same time, and the personnel are all over the Ludoka Mountains. It took Will 2 days to figure out the total number of green spirits. Chapter 202. Will sat under the tree trunk, gnawed on the sweet bamboo, and sorted out the collected information. There are 5,371 green spirits in total, and 13 beast masters, 8 of which have green pythons as their contract beasts, 2 velvet monkeys, 1 rock rat, 1 mad blood cow, and there is a golden-winged giant eagle. In the entire Green Essence Kingdom, only 3 beast masters successfully contracted the golden-winged giant eagle. One of them is actually here. The golden-winged giant eagle exists like a satellite. Among all the contracted beasts, it is the most difficult to deal with and has the most troublesome abilities. Its strategic significance is equivalent to the satellite in the previous life. The golden-winged giant eagle is not strong in combat. The ability is not special, it is just an ability to share vision with the beast master. But it is the common-sounding skill of sharing vision that makes the golden-winged giant eagle a satellite-like existence. How can a country without satellites fight a country with satellites? Your marching route, garrison location, granary, and ambush are all clear to others. How can you defeat them? Therefore, most of the battles between humans and green spirits are defensive battles. Rarely takes the initiative. Not to mention attacking the city and pulling out the stronghold, laying down the city of the green spirit. The reason is because the opponent has a giant golden-winged eagle. Although the golden-winged giant eagle is far inferior to satellites, the army, weapons, discipline, and combat effectiveness of this world are also far inferior to the modern army of the previous life. Why is the rare and precious golden-winged giant eagle with great strategic significance here? Because there are lush trees in the Ludoka Mountains, and the fog of war disturbs the vision, and we need to keep an eye on the movements of the 17 ancient war trees. So did we send a golden-winged giant eagle beast master? The beast master of the golden-winged giant eagle must be killed. Obstructing the ancient tree of the Green Essence contract war, the harvest will take tens or hundreds of years to be reflected. As for the beast master who killed a golden-winged giant eagle, the harvest is immediate. And for the contract plan of the ancient war tree, all he can do is obstruct it. The green spirits belong to the spiritual masters with strength comparable to formal wizards. If the green spirit is determined to subdue the ancient tree of war, and the spiritual master directly takes action. What is the ancient tree of war? As for the ancient tree of war, you can try your best, but don't pay too much attention to it, but the beast master of the golden-winged giant eagle must find a way to kill it. Will has heard too much about the power of the golden-winged giant eagle, the suppression of the army, and the aggrievedness of the army. The human side must be extremely willing to exchange the lives of 10,000 soldiers for a golden-winged giant eagle beast master. Too bad I couldn't find a chance. I already know the opponent's location, so I rushed directly into the barracks and chopped him to death with random swords? No. Judging from the existing information, facing the Green Elves' army, he is not an opponent in a frontal battle. But lurking to kill people and escape safely is still no problem. No matter how strong he is also the top existence among the third-class apprentices, and he is also a master of escape. If the existence of the official wizard level does not make a move, who can keep him in his prime? But this will expose my identity and strength. It will be bad if I am targeted by the high-level green spirits and remembered by the spiritual master. Will is only a second-class wizard apprentice. The Casta Green Kingdom is a country that is parallel to the Amona Empire, the Kygo Empire, and the Litua Empire. It is unwise to fight against the country by one person. I act for the sake of mankind, for peace and for justice, but I have to think about that, and I have to worry about being stabbed in the back by my own people. Alas, strength. If the high-level human beings can protect him, support him. He absolutely kills the green goblins as much as possible. Wreak havoc in Greenland. Let your name resound throughout the entire kingdom of Casta. It made every green spirit tremble when he heard his name, and every green spirit child cried in fright at his name. He wants to become the demon of the green spirit family and the patron saint of the human side. He wants to make every green spirit sleepless, and when he wants to harm someone, he will think of his horror legend, fearing his revenge, and give up the idea of harming others. Yet he couldn't do that. He dared to make things bigger and make the green spirit executives furious. The first one to send him out was probably the higher-ups of the human side, who used him as a tool to calm things down and tried their best to smear him in the public opinion. Shape him into a murderous, heinous monster. Some things cannot be done without strength. Will doesn't want to die. He is kind, he is just, and he is helpful. But the premise of everything is alive. Live happily and happily. After all, I'm just an ordinary person. I can't do selfless devotion to mankind and bear the infamy. I can only help others as much as possible while I have the strength. The remaining bamboo in his hand was stuffed into the mouth, and after swallowing it 3 or 2 times, the figure disappeared in place. He went to gather information about the green elves again. Although there are many green spirits, they all focus on the ancient war tree. Will is powerful and has good concealment skills, and he usually watches from a distance, so he has not been discovered by the green spirit all this time. The ancient war tree has good perception, and there are plants to inform. Generally speaking, in the Lutoka Mountains, Will would not dare to act recklessly. But the ancient war tree was caught up by the green spirit, so he had no time to pay attention to Will's movements. Time passed day by day. Hungry, eat bamboo. Thirsty, drink dew. Tired, find a tree hole to nest. As more and more information was collected, the understanding of the green elves in the Ludoka Mountains became more and more profound. The mind is immersed in the space of consciousness. In the consciousness space, there is a map simulated by mental power. The map is exactly the same as the Ludoka Mountains, and the mountains and rivers are exactly the same. The spiritual map is full of red dots and 17 green dots. The red dots are green spirits, and the green dots are ancient war trees. Will collected information about the green elves and the ancient war tree into his mind through perception and clarity, and simulated this real-time map. The points on the map are moving, which means that the owner of the points is also moving. Focus a little bit on a certain point. The dots will quickly become larger and clearer, showing the appearance of the green elves or ancient war trees, showing their status and actions. The enemy is not in the field of vision, but the dynamics of the enemy are grasped throughout the process. It's the same as playing a game and opening the full picture. If you want to monitor the movements of more than 5,000 intelligent beings, the consumption of mental power is still too great. The movement on the mental simulation map is predicted by Will through empirical observations and conclusions. It is not necessarily accurate. As time goes by, the error will become larger and larger, so it can only be used as a reference. If I can observe them for a year and a half, and there are no accidents, within 3 days, the accuracy of the simulated map can reach more than 80%. As for now, forget it. However, it is better to have a reference than to have no reference. As long as you don't blindly believe in the simulated dynamic map, you will lose your mind. There is a big difference between having a map and not having a map, even if it is not accurate enough. Preparation is 90% complete. Will looked up, staring at the blue sky. Next, it will be the beginning of a bloodbath. All that's left is to wait. Chapter 203. Time passed little by little. The plan of the green spirits to contract the ancient tree of war is getting closer and closer to success. According to this progress, in only 3 days, we will be able to contract the first ancient war tree. Will gnawed on the sweet bamboo and looked up at the sky. However, the time has come, it's time for Ludoka. The trip to the mountains has come to an end. The sky gradually darkened. Dark clouds are densely covered, lightning is flickering, and thunder dragons are flying. The entire world was shrouded in darkness, and thunder and lightning struck down from the sky, as if the end of the world was coming. It's finally here. A storm is coming. Will's waiting was not wasted. The strong wind howled, rolled up the dead leaves of the branches, and flew in the sky. The birds hid in their nests and chirped, their eyes restlessly staring at the black sky. Ants and insects moved in groups, covering the ground. There are more and more dark clouds in the sky, and they are getting lower and lower, as if they are within reach. One after another thunderbolts fell on the tallest ancient war tree, as if punished by heaven. Because of the storm, the green spirit has subsided quite a bit, but the condition of the ancient war tree has not improved. How could it be so tall? It is simply a natural lightning rod. The atmosphere was gloomy and oppressive, and the height of the sky kept decreasing. Blah blah. Rain, suddenly vented down. It was as if the 9 heavens Milky Way broke a hole, and the rainwater rushed down from the sky like a waterfall. Smaller branches were broken, grass was pressed to the ground, and insects were washed away helplessly. The fog of war that originally permeated the entire Ludoka Mountains, and the fog that could affect third-class apprentices, also disappeared completely under the washing of the rain. The power of heaven and earth is so terrifying. Will looked up at the sky, feeling powerless. In front of the world, human beings are too weak. Even in the previous life, in the technologically advanced world, human beings were still so weak when faced with hurricanes, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. A large amount of manpower and material resources will be lost every year. Even if you are an official wizard, in the face of this power, you're still 3 points inferior, right? Withdrawing his gaze, he walked towards the place where the green spirit was stationed. The rain washes on the body, as if someone is frantically washing the body with a brush. Take off the clothes that are in the way. Hold your breath. Adjust the heartbeat, from fast to slow, and gradually stop. Shrink the pores to prevent the secretion of gas and liquid in the body from the pores, so as not to be detected by the enemy's sensitive sense of smell. Control the body temperature, let the body temperature drop from the inside to the outside, so as to deceive the enemy's perception of heat. Smooth mental fluctuations, dilated pupils, and no light in his eyes, so that when his gaze is fixed on the enemy cannot perceive it. Pulls blood away from the surface of the skin, making the skin appear pale and bloodless. Musculoskeletal adjustments, body size shrinks, facial muscles deform, and there is no longer a bit of the original appearance. Combat strength continued to decline. When all the camouflage is completed, the combat power is only 2 layers of the normal state. This is the price of assassination. In the state of lurking assassination, it is impossible to fully exert its full strength. It is impossible for you to hold a weapon at your fingertips, use powerful martial arts, have muscles all over your body, sound like a bell, and kill an enemy with one sword, just like cutting melons and vegetables. That's not an assassination, it's a massacre. In order not to let the enemy see through, Will didn't even bring a sword. Will cautiously approached the green spirits' camp, using obstacles to keep sneaking. Green spirits aren't all resting. There are still a small group patrolling around, and dozens of green spirits are harassing the ancient war tree. They will not let the ancient tree of war rest. Holding branches in both hands and biting branches in his mouth, he disguised himself as a tree on the road that patrols must pass. 5 green goblins walked past Will grumbling. Under the torrential rain, Will was not noticed at all. We still need to patrol in such heavy rain. How can there be enemies here? That's right, sir, they are too good at dispatching us. Come on, it's raining hard on me. I really want to go back quickly and take a hot bath. What do you think? Hey? What's the matter with you? Why don't you answer? The green spirit who was walking in the front stopped and looked back suspiciously. The rain blocked his sight, and he could only see a few blurred figures behind him staggering, and he did not move forward. Don't be lazy. He turned back the same way, wanting to scold the 4 lazy green spirits. While walking. I've walked almost 300 meters, right? Why haven't I met them yet? Surrounded by rain, only the sound of splashing can be heard. The world is so noisy, yet so quiet. So much so that he couldn't hear what he wanted to hear. Hey, are you there? Call me back. Years of experience made him aware of the abnormality. His body trembled and he backed away, his eyes looked around anxiously, and after walking a certain distance cautiously, his speed suddenly increased. Swish! A vine entangles a fleeing green spirit. Save, save! His neck was strangled, and he couldn't utter the words for help. After struggling weakly, he stopped. Will, holding the vine in his hand, stepped out of the darkness. The patrol personnel will not return for a long time, it will definitely cause vigilance, and I will speed up. The figure was hidden in the rain again. Outside the barracks. A twig flew and pierced the heart of a green elf. A figure suddenly appeared behind him, his head was twisted off. The neck suddenly felt cold, and blood gushed out from the wound on the neck like a fountain. The temple was hit by a stone, and he lost consciousness all of a sudden. A green spirit standing guard fell down. Due to the heavy rain, as long as the distance is a little farther, it is impossible to see what happened. The guards disappear, they will soon find out the abnormality, and they must start as soon as possible. Sneak into the barracks. In each tent, there are dozens of green spirits. The green spirit drank, played cards, and played around in the tent to pass the boring time. A green spirit walked out of the tent, took off his pants, and sizzled against the rain. A dark shadow appeared next to the peeing green goblin. Will covered the green goblin's mouth, strangled his neck and twisted it hard. After the green spirit no longer trembles, slowly put down the dead green spirit. In the tent, there was a shout. That voice should be calling the green spirit to urinate. There are too many green spirits inside, and there are beast masters around. It's a bit difficult to assassinate them silently. This is the barracks, green precision set. Not like facing a patrol outside. Once a certain green spirit roared, the entire barracks would immediately erupt. A fallen green spirit on guard will be found immediately. That mission failed. After finally waiting for this storm, we must not fail. Next time, I don't know when it will be. Time does not wait. In 2 or 3 days, the green spirits will be able to contract the first ancient war tree. Then use the ancient war tree to weaken other ancient war trees, and the speed at which they contract ancient war trees will become faster and faster. After they find something strange and become alert, it will be difficult to handle. Chapter 204. Time to try that skill. Will opened his mouth, and there was a suction in his mouth, and the rain rushed into his mouth. The rainwater entered the belly, and the belly swelled. Mix vitality and magic power with rainwater in a certain proportion, and the rainwater turns into white mist and sprays it out of the nostrils. On one side, rainwater poured from the mouth continuously. On the other side, white mist sprayed continuously from the nostrils, spread to the surroundings, and poured into the tent from the gap in the tent. This is a skill created by Will by combining the Fog of War and Franro's magic skills. The effect is to interfere with the 5 senses of the opponent, disrupt the vitality of the enemy, and reduce the vigilance ability, as if drunk. Will named this skill White Curtain. When using the magic skill White Screen, a lot of water is needed, and the water mist released is not long-lasting. It will dissipate in 3 minutes under the sun. It is a semi-finished skill with great flaws. But it has 2 advantages. One is that it has a very large range and can cover hundreds of meters. The second is that the consumption is very small, as long as the water is sufficient, he can use it continuously for several hours. Soon, the mist from the nostrils enveloped the surrounding tents. Will shrunk into the tent. The tent was very humid, and there were water leaks in many places. The green elves sat in the tent in 2s and 3s, playing games. In the center of the tent, there were 2 green pythons hovering. The 2 clothes were more gorgeous than the surrounding green spirits. The green spirits with proud expressions were sitting there. When the surrounding green spirits looked at them, their eyes were full of respect. Inside the tent, white mist filled the air. But none of the green spirits noticed anything unusual. The bodies of the green spirits were limp, and their sitting postures became crooked, as if they hadn't slept for a few days. Will walked in the tent, and the green elves around him fell one by one. The two green spirit beast masters in the center were drinking, and they were not surprised by the green spirits falling down in the tent. When did the fog get so thick? Hey, it's a bit cold, add some wood. The fireplate in the tent was crackling, the flame was faint, and the wood in the fireplate was almost exhausted. The beast masters yelled a few times, but got no response. What's going on? Are you all drunk? Hey, go wake them up. The beastmaster patted the green python beside him. The green python didn't move. It yelled a few more times, but the green python was still lying there blankly. They didn't notice that the heads of the two green pythons had a few chopsticks inserted into their heads at some point, and they died long ago. When the two beastmasters were puzzled, their eyes suddenly darkened, their bodies fell to the ground, and they lost consciousness forever. Will stood alone in the tent, staring at the dead green elf expressionlessly. Maybe some green spirits will come to check the tent and report the situation, we must hurry up. Get out of the tent and stand in the rain. Will's skin was pale, his face was expressionless, his pupils were dilated, his eyes were silent, there was no breath in his nose, his chest didn't rise and fall at all, his body temperature was cold, like a walking corpse. He opened his mouth silently. The rain gurgled and poured into his mouth. White mist sprayed out from the nostrils and diffused around. One by one tents walked over. The noisy voice in the tent quickly quieted down. The green elves in this area have been dealt with. Except for the two beast masters, I couldn't find the green elves I wanted. Will's first target is the golden-winged eagle. The second is to hinder the ancient tree of green spirit contract war. Is it over there? Hidden in the rain, Will continued walking towards the green goblin's camp. In the simulated map in his mind, a little bit of light emerged, and the light represented the living green spirit. There's a green spirit coming up ahead. The two green spirits each held a can of wine and walked in the direction Will came from. It's raining so much and we still need to send wine. Don't complain, it's not good to be heard. When will this damn rain stop? The two green spirits were wearing rain capes, carrying wine, and walking hurriedly. Are they going to deliver wine? In that direction, is it for the two beast masters I killed just now? Will's eyes turned cold. Fortunately, I saw it, otherwise they would find the dead green spirit. What happened? It's exposed. Quickly catch up and kill the green spirit who gave the wine. 2 jugs of fine wine fell to the ground. The wine jar was broken, and the aroma of the wine wafted out, but it was quickly washed away by the rain. As soon as his eyes moved away from the 2 green elves who fell on the ground, he noticed that many more green elves came out of the tent. Also walking and shouting. Because I killed all the patrols and guards, did you find something wrong? Sure enough, it is still a bit difficult to kill people silently in the army. Will's speed suddenly increased. The green spirits fell silently one by one. The green spirits finally realized that something was wrong. The green spirit shouted, and rushed out of the tent with a weapon in hand. The beastmaster took the contracted beast and looked around with a gloomy expression. They haven't found me yet, there is still a chance. Will's body kept flickering in the heavy rain, and one by one green spirits disappeared in the corner of sight and died. Send the signal. Green spirit took out the signal and shot towards the sky. But they were all blocked by the stones that flew out suddenly. Who is it? A beastmaster roared, and the red marmoset beside him emitted scorching light and heat, dispelling the mist released by Will. Stupid approach. Will sneered in his heart, it dispelled the fog I released, but created more real fog. Sure enough, under the fire of the marmoset's fire, the rainwater turned into a deep mist and rushed around. All green spirits gather, there are enemies. The green elves who heard the order rushed towards the sound. Assemble! 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 The soldiers listened to the command of the boss and walked towards the place where the boss was. But the further they went, the more scattered the soldiers became. The order I heard came from this side. Isn't it over there? The voice of Master Beastmaster is coming from here. After arguing and arguing, his consciousness suddenly dropped and he collapsed to the ground. The commanders of the green spirits found that as they continued to issue slogans, not only did they fail to gather the soldiers, but the green spirits that had gathered together also began to disperse and disappear. Let's go! The Beastmaster ordered decisively. The three beast masters gathered together and withdrew their guards to the outside of the barracks. Hum! A piercing sound sounded, and the head of a beast master was cut in half. What happened? A line of blood appeared on the neck of the second green spirit. A scimitar stabbed out from the chest of the third beast master. You are not a guard. Before dying, the beast master turned his head with difficulty, and behind him stood a green spirit dressed as a guard. In his eyes, he saw the bodies of other guards and companions lying on the ground. The green elves in this barracks have been killed. The green elves have more than one camp, and many are scattered around the Ludoka mountains. The closest to each other is only a few hundred meters. Far enough to be dozens of kilometers away. The number of green spirits stationed in each camp also varies greatly. This storm is still going on for a long time. Will's figure disappeared into the rain again, sneaking toward another green elf camp. Chapter 205. The rain gradually became smaller. The clouds began to lift. A corner of the pitch-black sky burst open, and golden beams of warm light shot out from the gap, illuminating the world. Will was wearing clothes, carrying a backpack, carrying a tree root, and gnawed a bamboo in his mouth, and walked towards the outside of the Ludoka mountains. 5,371 lives have disappeared. Originally, he only planned to kill the beast master of the golden-winged giant eagle. Kill the dozen or so quasi-beast masters who used to contract the ancient tree of war. Unexpectedly, more than 5,000 green spirits were killed. The green spirits stationed in the Ludoka mountains perform secret missions and do not communicate with the outside world. They only pass on information when supplies are delivered once a month. The next delivery of supplies will be 13 days later. In other words, under ideal conditions, within 13 days, what he did would not be noticed by the green spirit. 13 days later, he was already in Kawa City. You shouldn't suspect me. Who can believe that a second-class apprentice is so powerful? The tree root he was carrying was the core of a giant tree worth thousands of high-grade magic stones. In the backpack are the documents collected from the green elf barracks. As for wood crystal, he had already eaten it up. These confidential documents of the green elves, Commander Terry and the others must like them very much, right? Thinking of the astonishing expressions of Commander Terry and the others when they saw these confidential documents after going back, Will couldn't help but feel happy. Let's go. With a pleasant pace, I left the Ludoka mountains. Standing on the edge of the Luchuoka mountains, the place where Susha, and Franro gathered together. Here, there are still traces of his battle with Francois. After erasing the traces of the battle, he glanced sadly at the Ludoka mountains. Susha, Franro, and 3 other third-class apprentices died. The talent, blood, and hard work of the 3 of them all had the opportunity to become official wizards, but they all fell here. A powerful third-class apprentice. A promising third-class apprentice. A third-class apprentice who has not had time to contribute to mankind. All of a sudden dead. I don't know what that guy Kaylani is doing now. Demon King, just hearing this name makes me feel horrible. During the 2-month journey, Will gained a lot. Learned some truths about the wizarding world. Became the pinnacle of the second-class apprentice. Got the core of the giant tree. His path to the third-class apprentice has been unimpeded. Next, you only need to wait for the end of the 3-year resident mission, and return to the academy to study advanced. His mind has never been so relaxed. It's been suppressed for too long. Time seemed to go back to the year when I was 15. At that time, he was still struggling with how to become a quasi-knight. He was also forced to refuse by the 4-armed ghost ape who only had the strength of a great knight. Met the man who changed the trajectory of his life rep. After that, I was tortured by hallucinations for 3 years. Study hard for a year with Fern Furlong. Was hunted down by king-level monsters. In Kawa City, every second counts, racking your brains to earn magic stones. In the past 6 years from the age of 15 to the present, my mind has not been truly relaxed for a moment, and I have been pressed forward all the time. I will stay in Kawa City for about 2 years. During this time, I can relax and do some things I want to do. With his toes on the ground, his figure accelerated and he sank into the jungle. This time, there is no Susha 3 people to hold back, and the strength is also much stronger. Because I have been through it once and I am familiar with the road conditions, so this time the speed is much faster. It took 5 days to arrive, but this time we arrived in 3 days. Standing outside Mayurka, looking at the tall and majestic city walls and the green elves coming and going, Will fell into deep thought. He was only in Mallorca for one day. Only one night to be precise. But what happened that night is something he will never forget. The words I heard and the scenes I saw kept repeating in my mind. It was a scene of hell, the hell of human beings. The most sensible thing to do is to leave quickly, and don't make any further stays in the Green Essence Kingdom. Every extra day you stay, saves one more point of danger. There are still 13 days before the Ludoka Mountains will be exposed, so it doesn't matter if you stay a few more days. This thinking is wrong. But the big truth, who doesn't know? Many people know the correct way to do it. But why can't it always be done? Why can't you hold on? Many times, it is because of laziness in my heart. Sometimes, it is because of the persistence in my heart. Even if you know it is wrong, even if you are afraid in your heart, you must persist. Just like those heroes who risked their lives into the water to save others. Can't swim and save lives? Finally died? Their practices are not worth advocating, but their spirit lives on forever. Will closed his eyes, already making a decision in his mind. An hour later, a green spirit dressed as a businessman with a bandaged left eye entered the city of Mallorca through the city gate. Instead of looking for his acquaintances in Mallorca City, he went straight to a place, the Santos Mansion. The host of that banquet was the city lord of Mallorca City, C. Anderson. Justice must be sought for the dead. Thinking of the young girl tortured by trafficking, Will felt a pang in his heart. Each of them is a beautiful girl. They marry a good man, have children, and are buried with their wives after death. They should have a bright future, but they are all ruined. Destroyed by the green spirit, trafficked, and Nanhuang. Southern wilderness, a well-known sinful place. Compared with Nanhuang, green essence is 100 times cuter. Nanhuang, one day I will crush you. He still understands that food needs to be eaten bite by bite, and the road needs to be walked step by step. Nanhuang is very chaotic, powerful, and far away. I can only plan slowly later. Kill Cai, the city lord of Mallorca City first. There was an unconcealable killing intent in his eyes. After waiting until night fell in Mallorca City, Will sneaked into the Santos Mansion. Mallorca City is a relatively remote city in the Green Spirit Casta Kingdom, with weak defense and few beast masters. The city lord's mansion was easily infiltrated by Will. Walk towards the place where the city lord is. None of the soldiers of the city lord's mansion could spot him, and he didn't kill a single green spirit along the way, and he didn't even faint. Quietly hid outside the city lord's room. In the room, the old city lord Cai was scolding several young green spirits. From the words, it can be known that those green spirits are the descendants of the city lord Cai, who recently got into trouble and were scolded by Cai, and then they have to close the small black house. Half an hour later, only Cai was left in the room, who was tired from cursing, his chest was heaving, and he was panting violently. Beside Cai, there is a white scale, with the light of wisdom flowing in its eyes. It can be seen at a glance that it is a green python that has lived for many years. Is Cai a beast master? Will knew very little about Cai's information. Because time was too tight and I was afraid of being discovered, I failed to collect information properly. An old green spirit, an old green python, what's the use? Taking advantage of the inattention of Cai and the green python, he turned in through the window and entered the room. Quickly deal with the green python and restrain Cai. It's best not to alarm the guards outside. There are green spirit guards standing at the door, and the slightest noise may cause the guards to rush in. At that time, although he had already killed Cai, he might be seen. It would be best if Cai was found out a few days after his death. If the cause of death was old age and it would not arouse the suspicion of other green spirits, that would be the best. Cai is 51 years old this year. In terms of the short lifespan of green spirits, 51 years is equivalent to 90-odd years for human beings. In this world where medical facilities are lacking, a person who can live to be 90 years old can be called a birthday star. Chapter 206. In recent days, the city lord of Marcaro City, C. Anderson, has been very irritable. Tonight, after scolding the junior who made a mistake again, he collapsed on the chair. I've repeatedly told them not to get into trouble these days and be more peaceful, but they have caused so many troubles for me. Cai became angry when he thought of all the things that happened. He remembered the words that his children and grandchildren retorted when he was reprimanded just now. It's been 3 months, when will it end? Yes, the army has been stationed in Marcaro City for 3 months. In the future, we will continue to station. Half a year? A year? 2 years? He said that he had a special mission, but who knew if it was an excuse? Is our Anderson family going to decline in my generation? He is the 11th generation of the Anderson family. From the 5th generation onwards, they have been the city lords of Makaro City. Now, without me, without you, who else can the family rely on? Sai caressed the scales of the old green python with complicated eyes. He is old. The green python is also old. 200 years ago, they were just minor nobles in the city of Makaro. The family has the training method of a beast master, but because of its weak strength, no background, and unable to contract powerful monsters, the family's strength has not been strong. It wasn't until the 5th generation patriarch accidentally rescued an injured little green python after an hour. After growing up, he successfully made a contract with the green python. As a result, the strength of the family has grown explosively. The 5th generation patriarch brought the contracted beasts and successfully made great contributions to the kingdom of Kasta, becoming the lord of Mayurka city. That green python has also been passed down from generation to generation. Guard the family. Now, 200 years have passed, and the lifespan of that green python is coming to an end. He was dying too. But in the Anderson family, there is not a single green spirit who can afford it. None reached the level of a beast master. It's all a pile of waste that can only control small animals. If the strength is not good enough. The problem is that IQ and conduct are not good enough to support the family at all. There are not a few forces in the city waiting for him to replace him and annex the Anderson family after his death. Feeling anxious in my heart, but I can't think of any way. He has been the Castellan for 30 years. It's been too long, so long that I want to die. But for the sake of the Anderson family and the city of Makaro, he couldn't give up yet. Although the generation that has grown up now is a bunch of waste, but the youngest generation that has not yet grown up, he sees a glimmer of hope. As long as I last another 5 or 6 years, it will be fine when they grow up. He has already found a way, and when the younger generation is strong enough, he can start to contract the green python. There is a beast master sitting behind the town. He can also feel at ease. After his death, the family will experience some turmoil, and the power should be weakened, but it is enough to still be the lord of the city, the #1 force in the city of Makaro, and to control the city of Makaro. Gently stroking the docile green python, you will accompany me, right? This green python has accompanied the Anderson family for 200 years. Through generations of patriarchs, witness the rise and fall of the Anderson family. After death, he hopes to be buried with it. Hiss. The green python spat out its core, responding to Saizi's words. Saizi's wrinkled face showed a rare smile. Suddenly, the green python's body collapsed to the ground. What's wrong with you? Are you okay? Sais didn't care about his image, stood up anxiously, hugged the green python and kept calling. This green python is his friend, predecessor, belief, and the patron saint of their family. Even if he was asked to exchange his life for the life of the green python, he would not hesitate at all. In a blink of an eye, the green python who was still communicating with him just now died. Although the green python was old and his time was running out, he did not expect to leave so suddenly. Cloudy tears fell from the corners of Saizi's eyes, and he wept silently. My lord, are you all right? Outside the door, there was a greeting from the guard. It's okay, don't worry. He didn't want any green spirits to see him like this. He could imagine how fragile, pitiful, and helpless he looked now. Since he was sensible, he has not shed a single tear. I also swore not to shed a single tear. But the mist in his eyes couldn't help falling. Only today, forgive me for my cowardice. Saizi hugged the green python, tears flowing continuously. A voice sounded out of time. You are Caesar Anderson, the lord of Makaro city. It seemed to be a question, but it was actually an affirmative sentence. The contracted green python of the Lord Saizi. Although it is extremely old, its strength is still strong, and its wisdom is comparable to that of ordinary adults, and its frontal combat ability is much stronger than that of ordinary green pythons. But it's just an appearance. The inside of its body has long been rotten, and its vitality is like a candle in the wind, which will be extinguished when it is blown. Will just used a little trick to attack the inside. The aging internal organs of the green python were shattered at once, and the weak fire of life was instantly extinguished. Ironically, Will kills the green python. Saizi didn't know what was going on, and thought that his partner, Green Mang, died of old age naturally. Seeing Sai hugging the green python with runny nose and tears, Will only felt sick for a while. It's fine for a beautiful woman to do this kind of thing, don't you mean to be disgusting, a bad old man? Will couldn't take the disgusting scene any longer. The body fell from the ceiling lightly, and when standing on Sai, his eyes stared at Sai mercilessly. Haven't noticed yet? Will was speechless. My falling movement is not too big or small, the sound is a little bit, and the breath has not been completely eliminated. With the mental strength and perception of the Beast Master, he should be able to detect me. Ah? Are you old? That being the case, it will save me a lot of effort. Will took out 5 silver needles. You are Caesar Anderson, the Lord of Makaro City. Before Sais could answer, the silver needle in Will's hand dropped quickly. The finger-long silver needle completely sank into Sai's head. Sai's body froze, motionless. Moved the stiff Sai to the chair. You should be able to hear my voice? I have something to ask you. If you are willing to cooperate obediently, I can give you a chance to speak. If you are willing, pupils turn to the left, take 3 glances. After waiting for a while, I got Sai's response. Will turned one of the 5 silver needles, pulling the needle up a little. Sais could speak. It's just that the voice is weak and extremely subtle. No matter how hard he roared, the sound could not reach 10 meters. Are you Doru? The first words Sai said startled Will. I've seen you? Will was sure he had never seen Caesar before tonight. Is that time? If Sai had a chance to get to know him, it could only be that time. Is it when I attended the banquet? At least hundreds of green spirits attended the banquet. I didn't expect you to remember it. Hold my name. It is estimated that Sai just glanced at the list and looked at the people present. At that time Will was just an inconspicuous green spirit among the guests. Unexpectedly, after 2 months, Sai could still remember him. Unexpectedly, you are in a high position, but you still have some skills, not a pussy. Chapter 207. What do you want? Although Will's pupils revealed obvious killing intent, Sais could see that Will's purpose was not just to kill him. In the depths of Will's pupils, there is a bigger dream hidden. Can you give me what I want? Will laughed. I may not be able to give you what you want, but with the help of me and my family, I will definitely help you go further. Sai said weakly. It might be a good choice to keep you. Will's plan changed slightly. In the not too distant future, you will find out how correct your choice today is. Interesting. Will is in no hurry to kill Sais. It's not that he was persuaded by Sai, but that he had something he wanted to know. For example, the training method of a beast master. The human cultivation system is knights, who can obtain magic power by transplanting magic seeds. In fact, knights are not limited to human beings. At least, in his opinion, the green spirit can also cultivate knights. It's just that the existing breathing methods are all compiled according to the human body structure, and green spirits cannot practice it. If someone tailors a breathing method for the green spirit can also become a quasi-knight, knight, or great knight. The power of life is not exclusive to human beings. As long as a creature with vitality can theoretically practice breathing. The problem is that the green spirit has a relatively short body, its lifespan is only 50 years, and its physical fitness is not as good as that of a human being. Practicing the same breathing method and being in the same realm, the green spirit will never be able to defeat humans. Therefore, the green essence did not develop in the direction of breathing. He chose the Beast Master system with stronger combat effectiveness. Why not on the human side? Only relying on the knight system, human beings simply cannot compete with other races. Not to mention monsters, let alone orcs, green spirits, and sea clans. With the knight system alone, they might not even be able to defeat trolls. Green essence, in theory, it is possible to practice the breathing method, but can humans practice the green essence cultivation method? How strong can it be after cultivation? Will isn't one to stand on his laurels. Every power system in the world has its reason for existence and its strength. What Will wants to do is to gather the strengths of 100 schools of thought, integrate all the cultivation methods, and create a set of cultivation methods that perfectly suits human beings. That set of exercises will be a set of exercises that do not require high talent, can be practiced by the elderly, the weak, the sick, and the disabled, with fast cultivation speed and high upper limit. If such a set of exercises can be created, it will be a big step away from the ideal world where everyone is like a dragon. Maybe I will not be able to achieve that goal in my whole life, and I will not be able to create such a skill in my whole life, but even if I create a few levels of skills, it is good. Future generations will stand on my shoulders and set foot on a higher level. Boundary. Will lived in the city lord's mansion. It didn't matter what was going on in C's head. At this time, Zi's life and death actions are completely under his control, and he is not worried at all that Zi will regret his small actions. Besides, he'll be gone in a few days. C's would die then too. Everything about what he did in Makaro City will be buried in darkness. The name Doru will also disappear forever. Later, externally, Zi refused all meetings because he had important matters to attend to. Internally, he lived in seclusion on the grounds of poor health. And has been telling the green spirit of the Anderson family not to spread the news about his poor health. The green spirit of the Anderson family was not too surprised by the sudden deterioration of Zi's body. 1. Because Zi is old, it is not surprising when he dies. The second is the departure of the contract beast green python. Zi's feelings for the contracted green python are known to all the green spirits who know him. The green python is also old, and it is also in a state where it is not surprising when it dies. The green python, the contract animal, died. Zi was deeply shocked, his body deteriorated, and his life was not long. Isn't that a normal thing? How many elderly people went to the street to buy vegetables vigorously one day, and died silently in bed the next day? The green elves of the Anderson family began to be busy preparing for Zi's funeral, and secretly began to compete for the family property and the position of the city lord. They didn't have much doubt about Will, who suddenly appeared beside Zi. I just thought it was a male favorite of Zi. They are all busy competing for the family business, who has time to manage a male favorite? So what if you are loved again? So what if the male favorite gains power again? So what if Zi gave all his family property to his male favorite before he died? After Zi's death, it's nothing. No power, no strength, no one to support. Think that the green spirits of the Anderson family are all dry? You stay well, don't pretend, it's no problem to raise you for the rest of your life. If people are not strong enough to swallow elephants, want to participate in the fight for family property? Hehe. Do you know how to write the word dead? It has been the third day of staying in the city lord's mansion. I have almost done everything I want to do, and I can leave in 2 days. There is no news from the Ludoka mountain range, and it should not be exposed yet. Early in the morning, the servants entered Will's room with boxes one after another. After the box was placed on the table, the servant quietly withdrew. There are 5 boxes in total. Will opened the boxes one by one, and there were sections of fresh bamboo in the box. The leaves are green and very attractive. Black bamboo, water bamboo, nansu, silk bamboo. There are 10 sections of bamboo in each box, a total of 50 sections in 5 boxes, and the types of bamboo in each section are different. Of the 50 kinds of bamboo, Will only knows 11 of them, and he doesn't know the rest. Picking up one of the bamboos, Kaka took a few bites. This is too hard. Pick up another one. This one is too loose. This one doesn't have enough moisture. This one isn't sweet enough. Why does this one have a rotten smell? This one is pretty good. Same thing, Will kept trying new bamboos. Want to find bamboo that suits your taste. Why does Will eat bamboo? Ever since he reached the 5th level of internal absorption and was able to digest weeds, for some reason, he fell in love with eating bamboo. The taste of bamboo is much better than meat. It's not that Will hasn't thought about this phenomenon. After much deliberation, I can only think of one reason: homesickness. What I miss is not the Albert family in Lent Town, but a more distant hometown that I may never return to Blue Star. Maybe it's the longing for my homeland. My favorite national treasure is bamboo. It's a pity that there are no similar animals in this world. Regardless of whether the guess is right or wrong, the fact that Will likes to eat bamboo will not change. After trying all 50 kinds of bamboo, Will selected 3 that were more satisfactory. Then asked them what kind of bamboo it is, where it grows, what environment it needs, and whether it has seeds. After taking a few knots of bamboo he liked to eat, Will left the room and walked towards the study. During the 3 days in the city lord's mansion, Will spent most of his time in the study reading books. Chapter 208. In the quiet study room, besides Will, there is only one green spirit. That was Caesar's great-granddaughter, Perla Anderson. Paris sat on the table, flipping through ancient books, quiet and elegant, with pointed ears, light green skin, long hair braided and draped over her shoulders, she looked like a legendary elf. Beautiful and alluring, not profane. Will couldn't help but think of the shadow that had tortured him for 3 years, the existence of the suspected elf spirit that killed Rep. So much dream, beauty, and danger. It is rumored that the green spirit is a distant relative of the elves, and it seems to have some truth. It is rumored that elves are a symbol of power and beauty, and they are existences that can keep pace with giant dragons. Unfortunately, in ancient times, they became extinct due to unknown reasons. The dragon didn't know where to go. Otherwise, where in this world can other creatures be arrogant? Para looked up at Will, eyes as calm as water. After nodding, Para's consciousness was once again immersed in the world of books. It's really a green spirit who likes to read, but it's a pity. In this world, knowledge without power is meaningless. Wisdom that does not bring strength does not control one's own destiny. There is no shortage of correct principles and ideas in this world. Great thinkers and philosophers have always existed. It is a pity that their thoughts and philosophies cannot make waves in the world. However, Will was too embarrassed to say anything about other people's hobbies. After all, not everyone has the capital to become stronger. Hobbies are not necessarily related to becoming stronger. Like his recent obsession with eating bamboo, what does it have to do with becoming stronger? Will took out a book of alchemy from the bookshelf, and sat down on the desk at the other end away from Pella. Start looking at the cultivation methods of the green spirits. The green essences practice a method called refining gods, which can strengthen spiritual power. This kind of exercise is very different from meditation. After practicing the divine method, not only can one strengthen one's mental strength, but also have the ability to control animals for a short period of time. Methods of contracting animals are also written in the books. If you don't make a contract, the control is only temporary, and it needs to consume mental power continuously, and it is easy to be backlashed. Will kept opening the alchemy method, and a lot of knowledge about the alchemy method was half knowledgeable. You can only rely on your strong memory to memorize it forcibly, and study it slowly later. The method of refining gods and the method of meditation are very different. After gaining a little understanding of the alchemy method, Will became more and more confused. It's not as simple as the difference at all. The basic principles of the alchemy method and the meditation method are contradictory in many places. They are incompatible like water and fire. Will never doubted the accuracy of the meditation method. Because the method of meditation is one of the foundations of wizards, and it is the crystallization of wisdom of countless wizards for thousands of years. Can the principle of meditation method be wrong? Impossible. After being exposed to the alchemy method, Will began to have doubts. Isn't the method of refining the gods the crystallization of the wisdom of the green spirits for thousands of years? So, who is right and who is wrong? The meditation method believes that spiritual power is the projection of the soul. The more powerful the soul is, the greater the spiritual power. Because dead objects have no soul, they also have no spiritual power. The method of refining gods believes that everything in the world has spiritual power, and spiritual power and matter are interdependent. So, the practice of meditation is to open up a spiritual space, and meditating in the spiritual space can strengthen the soul's runes, so as to achieve the purpose of strengthening the spiritual power. The law of refining the gods is different. The law of refining the gods is to develop the spiritual power of the body. Limbs, internal organs, blood vessels, bones, every part of the body, every cell, has spiritual power. What we need is to develop it and carry it out. Strengthen. Whether it's the method of meditation or the method of refining the gods, both can make the mental power stronger, so who is correct? It doesn't seem difficult to practice the divine method. It's only slightly more difficult than the breathing method. If you want to popularize the method of spiritual power cultivation, the method of refining the gods is definitely better than the method of meditation. But just like the breathing method, the existing alchemy method is tailor-made for green spirits, and other races except green spirits cannot practice it at all. If you want to cultivate, you need to make major changes to your cultivation methods. If it were me, I might be able to practice. He remembered the method of internal absorption, which was a skill that could only be practiced by the Itana race, but Will learned it, although the power was greatly reduced. Try it? After some hesitation, Will gave up. The principles of refining the gods and meditation are too far apart. What if the practice of refining the gods affects my cultivation of meditation? He can't afford to gamble. After I become an official wizard, it won't be too late to slowly study the alchemy. Will was overwhelmed with emotion. There are still too many unknown things in this world. Humans, green spirits, orcs, murlocs, monsters. Countless races, each with its own cultivation method, its principles and foundations, and understanding of the worldview are also very different. If not, who is right? Once upon a time, people thought that the earth was the center of the world. Later people believed that the sun was the center of the world. Later, people found that the above two conclusions were wrong. At first, some people thought that the orbit of the planet was a circle, but later found that it was an ellipse. In a certain period of time, people thought they had discovered the truth of the world, and felt that Newton's law could solve all motions. As a result, Newton's law was only applicable to the macroscopic world. What you think is right, there may be something more right on top of it. What works is not necessarily right, it may just be a coincidence. There may be only one kind of truth, but due to different viewing angles, different or even contradictory conclusions may be drawn. In this world, there are still many things waiting for me to discover. The vastness of this world is beyond Will's imagination. After reading a few more books, it was time for dinner. He got up and left the study, and when he closed the door, he found that Para was still immersed in the books. The Anderson family is in a mess, is she still in the mood to read? Shaking her head, she closed the door. Go to C's bedroom. Size's body is extremely weak, and he can't live for more than a month without Will's hands. Seeing Will's arrival, Size's eyes lit up, and his complexion improved a lot. Will felt strange. I'm the one who broke into your bedroom late at night, attacked you, threatened you, and kidnapped you. How do you feel that you have a good impression of me? Confused me, let me relax? Or do you like me? Will felt a chill in his heart at the thought of a man who had always been in love with him. Size sat up from the bed. Ahem, Dolu, is there anything you want to know? Ahem. Will was also polite, and sat down beside Size, asking about the doubts in his heart. The questions he asked involved the knowledge of alchemy, contracted beasts, green spirit history, and so on. As for Will's question, Size answered in every detail. Size was very sincere, and there was no flaw in his answer, as if he really wanted to solve Will's doubts. Due to Size's poor health, he speaks very slowly. And every time you talk about it for a while, your body can't stand it and you need to rest for a while. So I just answered a few questions. More than half a day has passed, and the sky began to darken. Chapter 209. I'm going down first, you have a good rest. Will put C's on the bed, put the quilt on, blew out the candles, and closed the door gently. Size lay on the bed, covering his eyes and staring at the ceiling, coughing. For the sake of the family, I will persevere. Size's body has come to an end, and he will die at any moment. He has long since turned his back on death. He even longed for death, wanting to let go of everything and return to eternal darkness. But for the sake of the family, he must persevere. The current situation of the Anderson family can only be described in one word: decay. He couldn't understand the family's situation all too well. None of the sons and grandchildren are reliable, and there is no one who can support the family. He is alive, and he can still frighten Xiao Xiao. Once he died, the whole family would collapse instantly from the inside out, from top to bottom. There are indeed many talented people in the generation of great-grandchildren. But he couldn't afford to wait. After his death, the current family leader is willing to let go of his power and fully assist the young and potential junior? Impossible. He couldn't be more aware of the evil nature of green spirits. I would rather the family be ruined and everyone finish playing together. It is impossible for them to give up their rights. The temptation of power is too great. At this point, there is only one way to save the family: to find a powerful green spirit to become the head of the family. If you don't have one in your family, then look for it from outside. The problem is that he can't look for it with much fanfare, and such a green spirit is not easy to find. Fortunately, Doru came to the door himself. Shrewd mind, calm mind, strong strength, decisive action, strong thirst for knowledge, smart mind, this is Doru. Doru is simply his ideal heir. Although the timing and place of meeting were not right, he believed that it was God's arrangement. As long as he guides him well, Doru will definitely be able to bring the Anderson family to glory. Unfortunately, it's a bit late. It would be great if he met Dolu 10 years earlier. I can see that Dolu has a bigger dream, and the Anderson family will definitely not be his end. Just as a springboard. But that's enough. Nothing is perfect in the world. As long as Duolul can remember some old feelings and pull the Anderson family, the effort will be worth it. Much better than a doomed future. What he needs to consider now is how to help Doru gain a firm foothold in the Anderson family. Turbulence is inevitable, but as long as the core of the family is not hurt, based on our accumulation over the past 200 years, with a good leader, it is not difficult to rise again. Let Duolul and Para get married first, quietly transfer the property to my hometown, and give up Makaro City after I die. Saizi has already planned the future for the family, which is a future dominated by Doru and supplemented by Pella. He is very clear about Pella's character and ability, and Pella will definitely listen to him. He believes that Doru will also agree. Money, power, and beautiful women are at your fingertips. No green spirit will refuse such a good thing that falls from the sky. After leaving the room, Will noticed several eyes falling on him. It was a sight full of envy, banter, and warning. With his excellent hearing, he could hear their evil whispers, and he heard all the malicious plans they discussed against him. Will wasn't about to do anything. Before leaving, he didn't want to make a big deal out of it. If there is anything to do, it is not too late to wait until the moment you leave, anyway, it is only a few days. Afterwards, Will deliberately avoided the green spirit who harbored malice towards him. Go to the underground chamber. The bones of his body creaked, and within a few steps, his body shape and appearance had undergone tremendous changes, and he had completely become another green spirit. My lord, we have delivered what you need. Several green spirit servants said this to Will in a humble tone. Will's current image is that of a high-ranking green spirit in the Anderson family. Using the appearance of this green spirit, Will secretly did many things. As for the original green spirit, I don't know where I died. Will walked towards the chamber, and there were fewer and fewer green spirits around him, until only his footsteps remained. When they came to a room, there were 3 green spirits who were tied up. All 3 green spirits were lying on the ground, unconscious. Looking at one of the green spirits, this green spirit's mental power and vitality are particularly strong. Beastmaster? Pick up the green spirit who is suspected to be a beastmaster, and walk towards another room. After walking through several rooms, I came to a secret room. Taking out the key as thick as an arm, he opened the heavy iron door, and a pungent smell of blood gushed out of the room. In the small secret room, on the wall, on the shelf, on the table, are all the remains of the green spirit. Originally, this secret room was used for a certain perverted nobleman to have fun. Now used by Will to study the body of the green spirit. And the green spirits that were sent were all death row prisoners in the prison of the Anderson family. Many of them have practiced the method of refining gods, and some have even reached the level of official beast masters. He dragged the green spirit into the secret room, closed the heavy iron door, and isolated the secret room from the outside world. Put the green goblin on the dissecting table and tie it up with restraint props. Here is. The effect of the anesthetic disappeared, and the bound green spirit woke up leisurely. The moment he opened his eyes, he looked at the neatly arranged remains of green spirits around him, and his eyes froze for a moment. Sitsaizi. There was a smell of urine between the legs. Will wore a mask and held a silver needle in his hand. He said gently, "Relax, it's okay, it won't hurt." Will had no interest in torturing his enemies. Even if it is a villain who deserves death, he will use the simplest and fastest method to kill him. However, it seems that the other party does not accept his favor. Since waking up, she has been screaming, struggling, and trying to kill herself. You will affect my work very much. The silver needle fell and pierced into the green spirit's head. Green spirit's movements suddenly slowed down. After the next 17 silver needles fell, the green spirit became completely quiet, only her eyes could move. No need to be afraid, I still have basic professional ethics. We'll put the polished knives next to the operating table one by one. Different parts require different knives. This is basic common sense. Cut open the stomach, separate the muscles, pull out the blood vessels, analyze the eyeballs, study the head. 3 hours later, Will's knife fell, ending the green spirit's life. Look, you didn't experience any pain from when I moved the knife to when you died, right? Put your knives away and take off your gloves. Sit at the desk and start writing the findings from this experiment. The body of the green spirit is very different from that of a human being. It seems that there is still a long way to go to improve the method of refining the gods. Half an hour later, Will entered the secret room with the second green spirit. Chapter 210. After analyzing the 3 green spirits, most of the night has passed. Will sat on the desk in the secret room, flipping through his notes by candlelight. After recording the information in the notes into your mind one by one, with the help of a torch, light the notes until the notes are completely burned to ashes without leaving any traces. The green spirit itself does not contain much vitality, but it is extremely tenacious, a bit like a cockroach. Even if it loses its head, its body can still function for a while. The running time of the body is related to the level of cultivation. A green spirit whose cultivation has reached the level of an official beast master, even without a head, his body can still be interesting. It's really terrifying. Perhaps the powerful green spirit can live without a head? Can a head grow back? To be able to do this, one doesn't even need to be a spiritual teacher. This is unimaginable in the wizard system. Every wizard's physical fitness is far superior to that of ordinary people, and his body contains a powerful self-healing ability. But there are definitely very few people who can reshape their hearts like Will's broken heart. Even if it is related to bloodline ability and healing, it is difficult to do. During the apprenticeship stage, was there anyone who lost his head and survived? In his cognition, no. However, this reminds me. Will thought of a possibility: if my head is blown off, I will never survive. What about being beheaded? Because it involves the spine, he is not very sure. In the human body, the head and the spine are 2 of the most mysterious places. Any damage to these 2 places will cause great consequences, and it is extremely difficult to heal. Go back and study it. Although dangerous, it is necessary to explore. The benefits of knowing yourself are no less than becoming stronger. For example, when he met Kaylani last time, if he didn't know that he could live without a heart, that can only be a desperate fight. But with his state at the time and Kaylani's strength, the death rate was 95%. Kaylani's strength has indeed become a lot stronger, but her heart is still the same as before, and I can easily predict her actions. There is no power, but there is no knowledge and disposition to control power. Everything you do can be easily controlled by others. He dared to do that because he knew that Kaylani would attack the heart. In case one day I am in deep danger, there are only 2 options: beheading and fighting. Fighting has a 95% mortality rate. After beheading, the enemy will leave. Which should I choose? At first, I thought that my understanding of the body had reached the limit of this realm, but now it seems that I am still far behind. Leave the chamber. Change back to Doru's appearance in a dark corner. Shower, change clothes, sleep. The door was opened, and a servant came in with washing tools and breakfast. Breakfast is fruit, juice, bamboo shoots, bamboo leaves. Sure enough, bamboo is the tastiest. After breakfast, get up and go to Saizi's room. Everything you want to do is almost done, and it's time to leave. Before leaving, there are a few things that need to be finished. He will never forget the hellish scene that night. If you do something wrong, you have to pay the price. Perhaps in the eyes of many green spirits, it is just ordinary entertainment. Too bad he's human. Meet C's. Saizi actually said that he would be the heir of the Anderson family? What a ridiculous thing. There is nothing more stupid and ironic than this. The next day, Saizi, who was in better health, held a family gathering. It was supposed to be just a gathering within the Anderson family, but for some reason, there were many more green spirits. Basically, everyone in the city of Majorca was present. Originally, there were only 100 people from the Anderson family at the banquet, but the guests, servants, and guards added up, and thousands of green spirits came. Because they all knew that Saizi would not live long. Tonight may be the last time Caesar will be seen in public. Although Saizi repeatedly asked him not to reveal his physical condition. It seems that the secrecy is not very good. The green spirits who came to the banquet all had ghosts in their hearts. Many of the green elves of the Anderson family collude with outsiders to strengthen their own strength and accumulate strength for Saizi when he dies and robs the inheritance. This banquet seemed to be peaceful, but secretly it was turbulent. All the green spirits present are waiting for Saizi's arrival. Under the eyes of everyone, Saizi was late. Saizi sat in a wheelchair and was pushed out by a young man with a bandaged left eye. All the green spirits on the field stood up one after another. Saizi closed his eyes, his chest rose and fell slowly, as if he was asleep. Crunch! The wheelchair moved forward slowly. Doru? In a corner of the group of green elves, an old green elf looked at the young man behind Saizi and exclaimed. Will had attended a banquet held by Sai under the pseudonym of Doru, and it was normal for the green spirit to recognize him. At this time, fog floated from all directions. Pervades the venue. In fact, Sai in the wheelchair had already died. The green spirit behind who is pushing the wheelchair is not Will, but a green spirit who was hypnotized by Will and made up to look like him. Sai has a high position and authority, and he has accumulated a lot of authority for decades. Without his permission, no one dares to get close to him, not even to look him in the eye. And Will has only been in the city lord's mansion for a few days, and there are not many green spirits who have seen him. His appearance and body have changed slightly, and none of the green spirits present can recognize him. The real Will, underground. In the underground waterway, while drinking water with his mouth, Will sprayed out a white mist with his nose magic white screen. The white mist passes through the pipes prepared in advance and leads to all directions. It gushes out from all over the city lord's mansion. Within a radius of hundreds of meters, everything was shrouded in white mist. Because it was dark and the humidity in the rainforest was relatively heavy, none of the green elves in Mayurka city noticed anything unusual. Why is the fog so thick? During the banquet, a green spirit wondered. But the thicker the fog, the less doubts in my heart. A knife cuts my own hand, the wrong partner dances with the wrong partner, toasts to an empty place. There are more and more strange things at the banquet, but none of the green spirits feel that something is wrong. The green spirits who have practiced the alchemy method have slightly stronger resistance, but most of them are also dizzy, as if they were drunk, and they only think that the strange sights they see are hallucinations. Magic skill white screen, low consumption, large range, unobtrusive, and safe. Even if there is an existence with stronger mental power than him, he can only detect that there is a problem with the mist, but he doesn't know where he is or what he did. The fog is getting thicker. It's so thick that you can't see your fingers. The strange thing is that the green spirit in the banquet is still holding the banquet normally, talking and laughing, drinking and drinking. A green spirit fell down and was trampled to death, but he was still talking and laughing, as if he was talking to a friend. On the dinner table, the spoon scooped up the soup. The spoon that should have been put in the mouth was inserted into the eyes, and blood flowed. This soup is really delicious, you should drink some too. Strange things keep happening. The green spirits present tonight are not fools. It's fine for ordinary green spirits who have never practiced the magic method to be too deeply affected by the fog. There are still a few official beast masters on the field. It's time to make a move. Originally, they only wanted to wipe out the Andersons, but they didn't expect so many green spirits to come. Is the matter going to get a little big? However, he still has to make a move. What's the difference between the death of 100 green spirits and the death of 1,000 green spirits? Will began to adjust his body and mind, and entered a hidden state, just like when he assassinated those green spirits in the Ludoka Mountains. A lion fights a rabbit with all its strength, I won't push it too hard. Years of fighting, wandering between life and death again and again, made Will extremely cautious in every action. Now he will only miscalculate, and will never be careless. Chapter 211. During the banquet, the green spirit who found something strange started to act. The first thing they suspected was Sai. The banquet was held by Sai, the venue was arranged by Sai, and the guests were invited by Sai. Could it be that Sai wants to eradicate us in one fell swoop before he dies? None of the green spirits present, especially the green spirits who could detect abnormalities in the mist, were idle. The green spirits who were not eroded by the white curtain gathered together to attack Sai. Attacked Sai in the wheelchair in one fell swoop. Dead? They finally panicked. Sai is dead? Who is thick with the weird fog around? There is weak magic power in the mist. We green spirits cannot do this kind of delicate and profound magic power utilization skills. It should be the hands of human wizards, or very powerful wizards. They guessed that the white mist was a means of wizards. But still haven't found a way to crack it, and haven't found the wizard who released the magic skill himself. Anxiously, he kept calling the contracted beast, but the contracted beast did not show up for a long time. Participating in a banquet, especially a banquet held by an existence with a higher status than oneself, it is impossible to directly bring the contracted beast into the venue. However, generally the party hosting the banquet will have the service of entertaining contracted beasts. The distance is not far. With the speed of the contracted beast, it can reach the beast master in about 10 seconds at the fastest. However, 3 minutes have passed. The green spirit who couldn't wait for the contracted beast began to break out. It was clear that he was walking back according to the route he remembered, but no matter how he walked or ran, there was a white mist all around him. Standing in the mist, his eyes are hazy, and he can see everything in a daze. No matter how loudly he yelled, there was no reply. The green spirits who had gathered together, lost their minds, scattered. It is not too difficult to maintain sanity in the magic skill white screen, as long as the mental power reaches the level of a second-class apprentice. Because the magic skill white screen itself is not aggressive. Its main function is to affect the 5 senses of living things and disturb the vitality in living things. The creatures in the magic white screen are disoriented, mentally confused, and physically dysfunctional. 10 minutes later. Will stands in the hall. All the guests and guards, 1,036 green spirits in all, were dead. Died at Will's hands. The white mist covering the city lord's mansion began to dissipate, and in 10 minutes, the mist would completely disappear. At that time, the tragedy of the city lord's mansion will be fully exposed. Tonight, the city lord's mansion is holding a rare banquet in the city of Mallorca in 10 years, and all the green elves with heads and faces in the city of Mallorca are here. The green spirits, who were not qualified to come in, also waited outside one after another, thinking that they might be familiar with each other. There are also many green spirits hiding in high places and secretly watching the banquet. Maybe there are green spirits who are late for the banquet. As long as the fog clears, everything will be hidden. Will fell into deep thought. Why did it make it so big? I just want to quietly kill dozens or hundreds of green elves. He asked Size to call all the green elves of the Anderson family to hold a banquet, and did not mention inviting outside guests. Guys who make their own way are always so annoying. Then, what should we do next? With his strength, no one will find out if he escapes secretly. The green spirit is not a fool. He should suspect Duolo's identity, and maybe he will follow the clues to lock me in. How can this matter be covered up? Kill all the guys wandering outside the city lord's mansion? This will only make the movement bigger and be discovered faster. Wrong. This method may not work. As long as we kill all the green elves in Mallorca City, they won't suspect me anymore. On the face of it, Wilming is just a special envoy of the Kingdom of Kawa City, a second-class apprentice. Superficial strength cannot kill a city. Moreover, sometimes making things bigger will make it more difficult for the other party to detect. Only kill the city lord's mansion? The suspect must be looking for in the mansion, and it may be related to the Anderson family. Kill a block? Suspicion extended to the entire block. Slaughtered a city? The area to be explored extends to the entire city. So, I just need to. Will froze suddenly. He was stunned by his own thoughts. When did I become so cold? The solution to the problem is killing? The life of a city is actually killed at will? Strength makes me swell. Will glanced around. Burn it, burn everything with a fire. All it takes is a fire. The truth of tonight will forever be buried in darkness. His own things, as well as the books and documents looted from the Anderson family, have long been hidden outside the city of Mallorca. The guys attending the banquet tonight are all respectable guys in Mallorca City, and they should have a lot of precious gifts. Searched around. There are many rare and valuable things. But money, does he still value money now? On the way back to Kawa City, he would take an old tree root with him, and carry a pile of documents and books on his back. There were already enough inconspicuous things. It's best to have something related to wizards, which can improve strength in exchange for a large number of high-level magic stones. After looking through the gifts brought by the guests, I only found one that was passable. In his hand, he held a basketball-sized object that looked a bit like a pine cone. He could sense a powerful vitality inside. Is this a seed? The seeds of what trees are so big? The vitality contained in it is so powerful? Glancing at the mist that kept dissipating, the effect of the magic skill will disappear in a few minutes. Let's go back and study the matter of the seeds slowly. In the city lord's mansion, the fire suddenly ignited. Watching the blazing flames, Will mused. The feeling of killing intelligent beings one by one with my own hands is indeed very bad. Will is not a bloodthirsty person. He has great respect for life. Although the target is the green essence, it is the enemy of human beings and the target he will eventually destroy. But I still couldn't bear it. In particular, it wasn't just the green spirit's soldiers who were killed, but also civilians, women, and children. Although there are no wronged souls under the atomic bomb. Compassion is something that everyone has. As long as you don't do it yourself, as long as you don't have to watch them die, isn't that all right? Green spirits must be eliminated. With Will's fuel, the fire further expanded. The Casta Kingdom was originally located in the Musa rainforest, and every city in the green essence coexisted with the rainforest, and the green area reached more than 70%. Many houses of the green spirits are built on trees. Fire burns fast. But in the blink of an eye, the flames had already spread to most of the city. Hearing the screams of the green elves in the city, watching the figures fall into the flames, feeling the life that is constantly disappearing. For some reason, there was a stabbing pain in my heart. Will squatted down clutching his chest, with a puzzled expression on his face. I'm not injured, I haven't been attacked, I haven't been cursed, and there is nothing wrong with my body, but what is this pain? Confused? Not. He knew the reason for the sudden pain in his heart. He chose to bear it. Chapter 212. Night is so quiet. For the green spirits of the slums, there is hardly any entertainment at night. It was dark. After dinner, as usual, Shankara huddled with her younger siblings in the small thatched hut, hugged each other and prepared to go to bed. Stomach growls. The 2 bowls of wild vegetable soup that I ate in the evening have almost been digested. Sleep quickly, you won't be hungry when you fall asleep. She could only comfort her brothers and sisters in this way. Not long after, there were even and subtle breathing sounds from the thatched cottage, as well as occasional gurgling sounds. In her sleep, Shankara smiled sweetly. I don't know what kind of dream I am having. The night was getting dark. The night that should have been silent, boiled like boiling water. Around, noisy and chaotic voices sounded. The sound of running, screaming, and crying sounded like the end of the world was coming. Shankara, who was tired all day, did not wake up so easily. She was still immersed in a wonderful dream. Facing the chaotic noise, she just frowned, and after that, she was immersed in a sweet dream again. What woke her up was the cries of her siblings. There are 11 siblings in total, the youngest is only 1 year old, the eldest is only 5 years old, and she is only 7 years old. Although green spirits develop faster than humans, they are still too young. The young Shankara not only shouldered the rations of 11 green spirits, but also took care of her ignorant siblings. The cries of the siblings made Shankara's body tense up. Eyes opened immediately, and hurriedly said to the crying siblings, "What's wrong? Are you hungry? Urgent? Bitten by a mouse? Scared by the big spider?" Shankara, who was about to appease her siblings, was stunned for a while. Why is it so noisy around here? Tonight, it was too lively. She only saw this kind of lively scene in the central block 5 years ago when the grandson of the city lord got married. And it's dawn? It's hot. Daylight came too fast. It felt like just falling asleep. Rubbing his eyes, he stretched his waist. A new day is about to start again, and I have to endure accusations from the boss and scolding from the guests again. I can't lose the restaurant errand job I finally found. Remove the wooden door. Outside the door, it is not the usual morning scenery. The stars are still shining in the sky. No doubt it was still late at night. A heat wave blows head on. Dust covered Shankara's face, and the soaring flames occupied her entire eye sockets. His eyes widened suddenly. After a moment of sluggishness, a terrified expression appeared on his face. Fire la la la! After screaming, "Wake up the siblings quickly!" But when she dragged out of the hut with 11 younger siblings, the flames had already spread not far in front of them. There are flames all around, and there is nowhere to go. Thick black smoke enveloped them. Cough, cough, cough. Under the stimulation of the smoke, they coughed violently, tears flowed out uncontrollably, and their eyes were stinging, and they couldn't open them at all. What to do? What to do? What to do? Shankara stomped her feet anxiously, and could only drag her younger siblings to follow the chaotic crowd. Due to the burden of the child, she was suddenly left behind. However, whether you run fast or slow, the outcome will not change. Run slowly. Engulfed in flames. The whole body was on fire, howling and rolling on the ground. Run away fast. What awaited them was nothing but a wall of flames. They could only cry in despair, and many green spirits rushed into the wall of fire, trying to pass through the wall of fire and seek a chance of life. But what awaited them was a hotter flame. Come on, get out of here quickly. Seeing the flames approaching, Shankara cried and urged her siblings to get up and leave. But where to go, she does not know. Whoa! The 11 siblings all fell to the ground, howling weakly, unwilling to get up no matter how hard they pulled. Seeing that there are fewer and fewer green spirits around, the security circle also turned out to be smaller. Sitsizi. Flames quickly spread along a half-dead tree. Branches break. And Shankara is located right under the dead tree. The flaming broken branches were falling from the top of her head. She could only hug her siblings with both hands, close her eyes in despair and wait for death. Boom! A loud bang exploded above their heads. Shankara felt her entire eardrum vibrate and reverberate, buzzing. What are you doing here? A strange yet familiar voice sounded beside them. With an impatient tone, as if blaming them. How? You are. Looking up at the figure that cut off the branch and saved her and her siblings, Shankara was stunned. The figure that I have been looking for all this time and can only see in my dreams. It actually appeared? And saved them? Could it be a dream? My lord, don't worry about us, run away. Shankara rubbed her calloused hands, her thin and dark face looked so resolute. What nonsense! Want to live with me? But, my brothers and sisters. Shankara said with difficulty, looking at her brothers and sisters who were crying together and unable to move at all. Hey, do you little guys want to die? Under Shankara's surprised gaze, the brothers and sisters who were crying and unable to walk a second ago, suddenly stopped crying and were full of vitality. This is medicinal wine, don't drink too much. Shankara took the wine gourd, unscrewed the cork, and an unpleasant smell of medicine poured out from the mouth of the bottle. Just took a sip, and the pungent smell of medicine flooded from the stomach to the whole body. Nose, eyes, ears, all burning pain. While coughing violently, tears and snot flowed out desperately. Strangely, after a few seconds, although I still felt uncomfortable, my eyes saw a lot more clearly and my nose could breathe normally. It seems that it is no longer affected by the thick black smoke. After quickly feeding the younger siblings a sip of medicinal wine, Shankara led the younger siblings to follow behind Will and rushed towards the outskirts of Mayurka city. There were flames all around, and there was no way to see. But under Will's leadership, they can always find the right path. Along the way, they saved many green spirits. The green elves who were running around, after seeing Will, all of them trusted Will as if they had found a backbone. When the green spirit met Will, he basically bowed down. In Shankara's view, this is because Will has the aura of a king, has the power to gather people's hearts, and is invincible to the benevolent. In fact, how did she know that this is just a small application skill of mental power? Those who have never practiced spiritual power exercises cannot resist the influence of spiritual power at all. Will is just playing tricks, and when every green elf commoner sees him, he will naturally have a strong sense of intimacy. While walking, the ranks are getting bigger and bigger. It's getting hotter and hotter. All the green spirits were sweating profusely, dragging their bodies forward with difficulty. Although I was very tired, my feet were numb, my skin was dry, and I couldn't even sweat, but in order to survive, I had to walk. Shankara was barely holding on. The problem is that the younger brothers and sisters can't walk anymore. When she was anxious and didn't know what to do, Will pulled a bullock cart from there. After putting her siblings into the bullock cart, she breathed a sigh of relief. Chapter 213. The flames are still spreading. The whole city was engulfed in flames. Thick black smoke rose into the sky, covering the entire sky, covering even the stars and the moon. Under the leadership of Will, the team managed to leave Mayurka city and out of the range of the flames. Due to the upwind position, the spread of the flame here has slowed down significantly, so it is possible to take a little rest. The tired green spirits sat on the ground, panting heavily. All green goblin eyes were on Will, waiting for Will to call the shots. In this case, they can only trust Will. Will stared at the burning city with a gloomy face, not knowing what he was thinking. No one dared to ask. After a while, Will lifted his legs and walked towards the city. Master Doru, that's too dangerous. Shankara quickly grabbed Will's clothes and said worriedly. What do you think I'm going to do? The flames have spread to the entire city of Mayurka, it is too dangerous to go back now, you have already saved. Save? Who do you think I'm trying to save? This, my lord. Do you think I saved you just now? I'm risking my life to save you? Don't think too highly of yourself. Will glanced at Shankara coldly. Shankara trembled, and hurriedly let go of the hand that was holding the hem of her clothes, and stood aside in embarrassment, not knowing what to say. Don't think too highly of yourself, you are not worthy of my rescue, you are just on the way. Will got up and stepped into the flames. What I want to protect is the forest. Set fire to the city, killed all the green spirits who were capable of putting out the fire, and killed countless innocent green spirits. He has no regrets about this. But he miscalculated. He forgot one very important thing. Casta Green Kingdom is located in Musha Rainforest. Musha Rainforest is the largest forest in the eastern continent, with countless towering ancient trees and countless rare animals and plants. His fire not only burned the city of Mayurka, but also the Musha Rainforest set fire to the mountain, and he will be imprisoned. The horror and devastation caused by wildfires is unimaginable. If it cannot be stopped in time and the flames are allowed to develop, it is very possible that the mountain fire will burn for 10 days and a half months, and burn hundreds of kilometers of forest. How much vegetation will this destroy? How can we embarrass a country that has been eroded by deserts and paid a huge price for greening? The Musa rainforest is comparable to the Amazon rainforest in the previous life. It is no exaggeration to say that it is the lungs of the planet. It plays a major role in preventing warming, purifying the environment, and maintaining ecological balance. We must unswervingly follow the path of sustainable development, we must not damage the environment for the sake of development, and we must not repeat the wrong path of pollution first and then treatment. Development is a must. But environmental protection is also crucial. Sure enough, it's too impulsive. The fire in the Musha rainforest not only killed green spirits, but also affected human beings and the whole world. And Will also has a new understanding of the righteous thoughts in his heart. Walked down the burning streets. His eyes were fixed on the crumbling city, and the flames burned his body. In my mind, a 3D map exactly like the city of Maruksa appeared. The spreading speed of the flame, the direction of burning, the strength of the wind, all the factors that will affect the fire were simulated in my mind. If you want to extinguish the fire, it is unrealistic to put it out with water. The best way is to create a barrier. Manufacturing isolation belts also requires skill. The isolation zone is not wide enough, and a spark may drift by, and the flame may burn again. The isolation bandwidth is enough, the question is there enough time? Maybe the flames arrived before the isolation zone was done. Will kept an eye on the fire and calculated where it would be best to create a barrier. After complicated calculations and simulations in the mind, the plan quickly took shape. In this world of unearthly power, fighting wildfires is much easier than in previous worlds. At least in the production of isolation belts, it is much more reliable to cut down a big tree with one knife than to use a tool saw for half a day. If it wasn't for the fact that all the powerful beast masters in Mayurka were killed by Will. The scale of this flame is not big at all. There is a contracted beast that is as fast as a sports car, can easily lift dozens of tons of heavy objects, and is not afraid of flames. Whether it chooses to extinguish the flames or create a barrier, it is easy. But most of the powerful green elves with status in Mayurka city were killed by Will in the city lord's mansion. Later in the process of arson. Considering that there will be green spirits to put out the fire, I killed all the powerful green spirits I saw along the way. Thus, the fire took shape smoothly. Is this self-inflicted? With a sharp blade in hand, run fast in the unburned jungle. Towering trees fell down one by one. During this period, he found many escaped green spirits. Will organized those green spirits, issued tasks, and cooperated to fight the fire. After all, the fire was so fierce and the scope was so large, it was still too much to rely on him alone, mainly because he didn't want to expose his true strength. As for the changes in the fire situation, Will seemed to have satellite monitoring, and he knew everything about it. Under his leadership, the fire was contained. Master Dolu, there are civilians stunned and suffocated by smoke. A green spirit ran over and reported. Will doesn't care about the life and death of the green spirit. But now is the time when manpower is urgently needed, and it is always good to have more strength. Will poured all the wine into a large vat, added the herbs he had collected and stirred, and after a few minutes, the medicinal wine was made. Feed them the medicinal wine, and when they wake up, the young and strong will approach the firefighting team, with women, young and old as backup. Clear. Master Dolu, the speed of flame spread from east to west is accelerating. Master Doru. The familiar homeland was engulfed by flames. Shankara looked at the raging fire in the distance, and her siblings fell asleep beside her. She is also very tired, but she is waiting for a green spirit. The green spirit who said nasty things in his mouth, pretended to be ruthless, but was actually gentle, considerate and caring, willing to risk his life for civilians like them. Dolu. Refugees keep coming from afar. From the refugees, she heard news about Doru. Forming a firefighting team, brewing medicinal wine, treating the wounded, organizing refugees to flee. There are too many praises for Doru. The day gradually brightened. But the flames were not extinguished, and the sky was still covered in thick smoke all day long. After resting for a night, and her spirit and body improved a lot, she also joined the support team and contributed her own strength to put out the fire. Tired and busy, but she has always had fun. Until the flame goes out. Together with other green spirits, she greeted the returning firefighting team, cheering loudly and dancing. The grief caused by the fire seems to have eased a lot. What makes her strange is that she has never seen Doru. He rushed out, ignoring the obstruction, and came to a green spirit who seemed to be the leader of the team. Where is Master Dolu? Why didn't you see Master Dolu? She was rudely held down and shouted by several guards, but she still kept asking. Let go of her, don't embarrass her. The leader of the green spirit team jumped off the horse, and said with a sad face, Master Dolu has saved the fire for 2 consecutive days. We let him rest, but he won't listen. The members of the surrounding firefighting team all looked sad when they talked about Dolu. Many couldn't help crying. No, it's impossible, Lord Dolu is so powerful, how could he? After several days of fatigue and a severe mental blow, Shankara lost consciousness and passed out. Chapter 214. The wildfire was extinguished. The green spirit named Doru also died. Standing on a mountain peak in the distance, looking down at the earth that has been scorched by flames. There, green elves stood in the ruins dragging their tired bodies. Or sad, or desperate, or happy. Homes were destroyed overnight, family members, friends and neighbors were engulfed in flames. Nevertheless, the future must always be faced, and the home must always be rebuilt. Looking at the busy green spirit, Will had neither joy nor sadness in his eyes. Although it was for fighting the fire, he did save a lot of green spirits. Just to put out the fire? For the sake of human beings, isn't it better for green spirits to die as much as possible? Green spirits are, after all, the enemy of mankind. On the road of human rise, the green spirit is an unavoidable obstacle. Then why, Will still save them? Is it because of guilt? Or mercy? Or have you changed your mind? Neither. No matter how sad, no matter how painful his heart is, no matter how many people blame him, his will never change. He had already made a decision: all crimes belong to me. The reason why he did that was just to re-recognize himself, re-recognize justice and human beings. People are always improving. The ideal in my heart is also constantly improving. In the past, he wanted to kill all the alien races, thinking that as long as he did so, human beings would be able to stand on top of the world and gain happiness. Is it really like this? Can killing and defeating alien races prove that human beings have become stronger? No. It just means that Will is too strong. Strong enough to fight against all races with one person. However, this was not the result he wanted. Perhaps, in the distant future, I can possess great power, call the Buddha the ancestor, become a fairy with one thought, become a demon with one thought, turn my hand into clouds and cover my hands with rain, and become an almighty god. But if this power can't bring happiness to mankind, lead mankind to glory, and create an equal and harmonious society, what's the point? If that omnipotent power can't help all human beings become omnipotent gods, what's the use of it? What Will wants, isn't power. It is not to rely on one's own strength to fight against all races, nor to become the god of human beings, the absolute powerhouse of human beings. All he wanted to do was to be a mentor, a pioneer. Today, I became stronger, so humans are the strongest race. Tomorrow, which race will appear the strongest? Is that race the strongest race again? What I want is for human beings to rely on their own strength to defeat all races and stand on top of the world. Therefore, what Will has to do is never to kill. It's about finding ways to make humans stronger. Create a world where everyone is like a dragon. One day, I want everyone to have great power and become an official wizard through hard work. He finally woke up. How stupid I was before. Whether it's green spirits or orcs, what's the point of killing them? No. As long as they don't hinder me in the rise of human beings, so what if they live in this world? After thinking about it, Will's heart suddenly relaxed a lot. The goal is set. The way forward has become clearer. He knew that his choice was difficult. It is very likely that it will not be realized in a lifetime, but how do you know if you don't try it? Even if he fails, as long as he can get closer to the goal, he can leave something useful for future generations, so that more talented people can stand on his shoulders and see higher. That's enough. Carrying the package on his back, he picked up the core of the giant tree and walked towards Kava City. The 3-month trip to the land of green essence has come to a perfect end. Looking at Kawa City, which has been away for 3 months, Will felt a lot of emotion in his heart. It's great to be back in the human world again. Quietly returned to Kawa City. In Kawa City, very few people knew that he had left. Because he was originally withdrawn, he spent most of his time in the house tinkering with things, and it was normal for him not to see anyone for 10 days and a half months. Master Will, these are the documents you have accumulated to deal with during the 3 months you have been away. Kylan smashed the document, which was half a person's height, on the table. Karan was the first to rush to him since his return. After asking warm questions, Kylan's attitude changed drastically. After all, it was originally planned to come back in a month, but there was no news for 3 months. It is natural to be worried. Although Kylan's attitude made him very uncomfortable, but seeing the mist in his eyes when Kylan rushed to see him anxiously, he didn't care about Kylan. It's really accumulated a lot. Looking at the hill-like documents in front of him, Will felt a headache. Simplify the progress of life potions, problems encountered, solutions, experimental procedures and results. The tasks he promulgated, the rewards, and meetings he completed. About the difficulties encountered in the popularization of breathing exercise gymnastics. The medicinal materials collected in the army, the refining of potions, the missing potions, and the progress of other new potions under research. I asked Kylan to find an assistant who knows pharmacy. There are too many things. It's all waiting for him to deal with. Unknowingly, Will has become a pivotal figure in Kava City. Every word and deed affects the fate of countless people. Since it's related to me, I will naturally handle it properly. Will is not someone who likes to shirk responsibility. Moreover, what he did in Kava City was a very important link in order to realize the ideal in his heart. We have to eat food one bite at a time, and we have to walk step by step on the road. Will's ambitions are great. But just because the ideal is too lofty, you can't stop taking action and wait for the opportunity to come, right? Tomorrow after tomorrow, how many tomorrows? He wanted to create a world where everyone could be an official wizard. This idea is so far away and difficult that it is almost impossible to realize. After all, he is only a second-class apprentice now, and he is still worrying about becoming a third-class apprentice. It's hard to say whether he can become an official in this life. Because it is difficult, because you are not sure, you don't act? Thinking after I become an official wizard. It's not okay to have that kind of thinking. Increase the number of knights on the human side first, and when the number of great knights increases significantly, it will not be too late to consider wizards. Taking the knight system is the best method he can think of so far. It's also the best way to get started. If you want to become a wizard, the blood is okay, because you can pass the transplant. The biggest problem is the mental power. Even in bloodline families, there are many people who have awakened bloodlines but lack mental power. What about ordinary people? There is only 1 in a million ordinary people whose mental strength has reached the entry level of a wizard's apprentice. Becoming a great knight can significantly enhance your mental strength. This path is the path Will took. Of course, there are many problems. For example, it is too difficult to become a great knight, which great knight is not 30 or 40 years old. The wizard apprentice who transplanted the magic seed has a limited lifespan and limited time. He needs to learn meditation and physical exercise. How can he still have time to practice breathing? Have you reached the level of a great knight? Finally, do you need talent to practice breathing? Chapter 215. The barrier to entry for breathing techniques is indeed very low. As long as someone teaches you, as long as you are in good health and have sound limbs, you can learn breathing techniques. Get stronger by breathing. Just like when you practice running, you can run faster. Learn to play basketball, you can play better. Join the football training class, the ball skills have been significantly improved. As long as there is no problem with the body and there are no other unexpected factors, exercise can make the body better, which is not wrong. The problem is, if you want to run as fast as Bolt, play basketball better than Jordan, and play football better than Pelé. Talent is what counts. Without talent, no matter how hard you work, no matter how rich you are, no matter how good a famous teacher you have, it is good to be able to enter the provincial team. Want to take it a step further? Go to sleep, dreams have everything. The same goes for breathing. People without talent practice, the effect is like radio gymnastics, and square dance, it is definitely good for the body. Longevity, strong body and strong spirit. Still no problem. The problem is that it is very difficult to become a reserve knight. Those who can reach the level of reserve knights are already 1 in 100 talents. Those who can become quasi-knights can be said to be the first-class swordsman in the township, and only a few hundred people can produce one. An official knight can dominate a party. As for the great knights, the earl's family should be treated with 3 points of courtesy. There are tens of millions of people in a country, and the number of great knights on the surface is only a few dozen. Breathing gymnastics originally carried my hope. The effect of breathing exercises is very powerful, beyond Will's expectations. Almost everyone who practices can reach the level of a preparatory knight. The disadvantage is that the difficulty of being promoted to a quasi-knight has increased by more than 10 times. This is not what Will wants. Back then, when he was still in Lent Town, his cultivation had reached the level of a paladin. However, due to the influence of the body training method, he has been stuck at the peak of the great knight and cannot go any further. Until many years later, I practiced dozens of breathing methods, and summed up an unprecedented powerful breathing method that belongs to me. After overcoming many difficulties, hard training, and trying again and again, he succeeded in advancing to the rank of paladin. For those who have practiced breathing exercises, if they want to advance to a quasi-knight, the difficulty will not be much less than that of his advanced paladin. Sure enough, we still have to make a fuss about the pure breathing method. It is best not to do exercises that combine breathing and gymnastics before the great knight. After the big knight, you can think about it. After all, it is too difficult to become a paladin. Body forging can significantly enhance combat effectiveness. After the grand knight has completed his physical training, his combat power is not much weaker than that of a pure paladin. Based on my current accumulation of knowledge, it is still impossible to create a breathing method that everyone can practice, that is as popular as radio gymnastics, and whose growth rate is not inferior to ordinary exercises. Let's make a fuss about medicine. Appropriate potions can greatly shorten the training time of talented people. It can instantly disintegrate the bottleneck that can only be broken through in a few years or decades. The life potion is an attempt by Will. Now it seems failed. In the eyes of many people, the efficacy of the life potion is already amazing. It can be called a magic medicine for knight cultivators, and it can be used from preliminary knights to great knights. However, in Will's view, it was still too far from expectations. Forget it, let's take one step at a time. In the next 2 years, it will be good to improve the life potion and accumulate experience for the future. He is only 21 years old now. After becoming an official wizard, the lifespan starts at 200 years old. There is still a lot of time for him to study. Will is still very clear about his abilities. I'm just an ordinary person. In this life, I can increase the number of great knights on the human side by dozens of times and continue to do my best. Well, the harder you work, the more you understand your limits. The ideal in the heart is beautiful, do you want to realize it? Do your best. After dealing with the things he had accumulated in the 3 months since he left Kawa City, Will begins to sort through the files he got from the Green Gnome. Many of them are military secrets of the Green Spirits, which have a great effect on the war strategy of the human side. However, these documents cannot be directly given to Commander-in-Chief Terry. There are too many things related to the wizarding world in the documents to be easily revealed to the world. The Beastmasters of the Green Spirit clan and the warriors of the Orc clan don't feel as mysterious as the wizards of the human race, and they don't want to hide their existence like wizards. Is it because of the source of power? A Beastmaster is achieved through self-cultivation and contracting with monsters. Warriors of the Orc race also rely on their own blood. Only the wizards on the human side are not following their own natural system and need to transplant the flesh and blood of monsters. Like a parasite of a monster. As if humans are inherently inferior to other races. It's a pity that the knight system has not been established. In the simple knight system, the most powerful paladin is only as strong as a second-class apprentice. Above the second-class apprentices, there are third-class apprentices, first-class wizards, second-class wizards, third-class wizards, fourth-class wizards. Is the knight system really that weak? For this question, Will was not sure. I don't want to, just take one step at a time. After sorting out the information, Will found Commander Terry. He handed over the confidential document he summed up to Commander-in-Chief Taylor. Looking at all kinds of information written on the paper, each of them is classified as confidential and requires the military to pay a huge price to obtain it. As for Will, it only took 3 months. For the surprise that Will gave him, Commander Terry was almost numb, and didn't know what to say. How did you get this information? How reliable is it? What have you been doing for 3 months? Princess Susha, who left with you, and the other 2, where did they go? Why didn't you come back together? Commander Terry dared not ask. A person who can sit in the position of general manager still has a basic sense of smell. For what Will gave him, Commander Terry has always just been amazed, praised, and worshipped. Didn't go into the details at all. This made Will very satisfied. I've given you the stuff, how to deal with it is up to you to arrange, but don't involve me, I don't want to be bothered by this matter in the future, understand? Although he was very relieved of the Commander-in-Chief Taylor, Will still ordered him as usual for a moment. Master Will, you never gave me anything. The intelligence department in our army collected all the information painstakingly. It is the crystallization of the hard work of soldiers and soldiers. Commander-in-Chief Taylor looked at Will flatteringly. Will, look, my lord, do you need anything? People don't want to be famous. It doesn't mean you don't want money. If you think that you can take advantage of it in vain, you are very wrong. Will is also very satisfied with the initiative of Coach Terry. Chapter 216. After tactfully explaining what you want. Before leaving, Will said, you don't have to worry too much about my affairs. Human and material resources should be put more on the construction of the army, the training of soldiers, and the protection of the people, understand? My lord taught us that we are the people's army. Our mission is to defend the people and resist the enemy. We will never abuse our power to obstruct major events for personal reasons. Commander Tai Li said with a serious face, my lord, those things you the soonest, when do you want it? 5 days. We'll do our best. When Will was about to leave, Commander-in-Chief Taylor suddenly said, Master Will, how much do you know about the new special envoy of the kingdom? For each resident, the minimum number of resident wizards is 2. Tucci has been away for half a year and should be dead. He also left Kawa City for 3 months before, and the academy probably thought he was dead, so they sent a new wizard apprentice to Kawa City to garrison. Due to the lack of manpower, only one can be sent for the time being. Will had also heard about the new apprentice wizard. It's just because there are too many things to deal with recently, and I don't have time to visit. A new guy, though. Shouldn't you take the initiative to visit the seniors? And seeing the unspeakable expression on Commander-in-Chief Terry's face, the new wizard apprentice seems to have caused a lot of trouble. Master Will, do you have time to meet with Lady Tessa? Commander Terry kept observing the changes in Will's expression. Commander Tai Li obviously had a lot of complaints in his heart, but the other party was the kingdom envoy like Will after all. Maybe the two were old acquaintances, so it was not easy to speak ill of each other openly. And it's normal for a kingdom envoy like Tessa to do whatever he wants. People like Will who are easy to get along with and considerate of the people in the army are a special case. Since I have endured it before. If Will and Tessa had no objections after meeting in person, he didn't intend to get entangled in this matter. Will nodded and agreed to the request of Commander-in-Chief Taylor. He also wanted to see who that Tessa really was. It just so happens that I'm free now, so I might as well go and see you. Master Will, I'm sorry to trouble you. Commander Tai Li was overjoyed, and immediately recruited several personal guards to lead Will. On the way, Will asked a lot about Tessa. Tessa must have been in a lot of trouble. Otherwise, he would always be cautious, and he would not ask Tessa to see Tessa when he faced the special envoy of the kingdom, who was cautious in his words and deeds. I definitely hope that after seeing Tessa, he can persuade Tessa to restrain herself. However, the guards leading the way didn't know what to ask. The look of hesitant to speak, obviously wanted to speak but dared not speak, probably because he was afraid of offending the special envoy of the kingdom. Will didn't hold back either. Anyway, it won't be long before we can meet each other, and I don't want to embarrass the guards. Half an hour later, the carriage stopped in front of Tessa's accommodation. After a notification, get a reply. After asking the guards to wait in place, Will walked towards the gate alone. When there were still a few steps away from the gate creaked open. A dozen young men with strong bodies and handsome faces came out of the house. After paying a respectful military salute to Will, he trotted away. Will scowled. He already guessed what Tessa had done. No wonder no one told him the details of what Tessa had done. It's one thing to be afraid of Tessa. More because it was too difficult to talk about. It's fine to mess around in the academy, but it's still like this outside. The ethos in the college is extremely developed, and there are more men than women. That's very common when you're having a party. Will didn't want to complain about that. A group of people who don't live to be 30 years old and may have only a few years left, as long as they don't break the law or harm others, it's understandable how indulgent they are. But since it came out, it became a kingdom envoy. Can't you pay attention to the image a little bit? Wizards are the guardians of human beings behind the scenes. Lift your legs and step into the door. In the hall, a woman was wrapped in tulle, holding a bowl, leaning on a chair and drinking wine unrestrainedly. You are Tessa? Will looked carefully at the new wizard apprentice. Tessa has black shoulder-length curly hair, healthy wheat-colored skin, a tall, bulging back, round and slender legs, and tight muscles. The whole body exudes a wild beauty. The appearance is above average, the figure is hot, and his temperament makes men spontaneously arouse a desire to conquer. But considering her lifestyle, it is estimated that few men can bear it. Don't talk about getting married. Not even willing to play. While Will was looking at him, Tessa was looking at him too. Seeing Will looking at her with a regretful and disappointed expression, Tessa raised her eyebrows and said in an unhappy tone, "You are Will? Not bad." Will sat down across from Tessa. "Your name? I'm almost tired of hearing it this month." Tessa pouted and drank the wine in the bowl in one gulp. "Look at you having a good time, everyone here you are worshipped like an idol." Snapped. After dropping the bowl onto the table, Tessa looked directly at Will and said, "I don't care what you want to do, but I hope you won't interfere with me." Tessa could also guess a thing or two about Will's intentions. "What if I say no?" Will lowered his head and rubbed the back of his hand lightly, his tone so flat. "What did you say?" Tessa's eyes froze. The muscles all over his body tensed suddenly, and his body bowed slightly, like a bow and arrow ready to be fired at any time. "Minding in the crowd and getting a little respect, have you forgotten your identity?" Tessa exuded a forceful aura all over her body. "You know me?" Will sensed this from Tessa's attitude and language. "Humph, you don't know how famous your name is in the academy, and how many people hate you so much that they want to kill you." Tessa sneered, "Isn't it? A strong man, a first-class apprentice who survived a king-level monster? I see." Will understood why Tessa dared to be so arrogant. When he left the academy, he was only a first-class apprentice. Apart from the rumor that it survived from a king-level monster, there is no rumor that it has a particularly powerful combat power. Tessa, who had always had a problem with Will, and thought she was stronger than Will, it was only natural that she would not take kindly to Will. It can't be Tessa's fault either. Who would have thought that Will, who was abandoned by the academy and sent abroad, would be able to advance to a second-class apprentice? Can the fighting power be comparable to that of a third-class apprentice? No one in this world knows Will's specific strength. Tessa is no exception. Chapter 217. Tessa is a second-class apprentice who transplanted the Lagi leopard demon seed. Most of the apprentices sent by the college to the resident are second-class apprentices. It is very rare for a first-class apprentice like Will to be sent to the resident. It also shows that the academy has completely given up on Will. A second-class apprentice goes to the station for 3 years. Although the chances are slim, it is still possible to become a third-class apprentice. There are many examples of this in history. And those who were sent to the station as soon as they were apprentices were doomed. Of course, she was definitely not much better herself. She herself is also a member who was abandoned by the academy. With her ability and talent, even if she studies in the academy, the chance of successfully progressing to a third-class apprentice is less than 5 levels. Now coming to the resident, the probability is lower than 1 level. It's almost impossible. Failed. Dead. Now she just wants to enjoy herself and live freely. 30 years of life is not too short. I don't know how many people in this world die before they reach the age of 30. If someone calculates the average life expectancy, it is still unknown whether the average life expectancy can reach 30 years old even if the official wizards with super long lifespans are included. All in all, just enjoy it. Sorry, I also have my own insistence. Although he sympathized with Tessa, Will would not let Tessa mess around. Moreover, he is also a fallen person in Tianya, and he also wants to give Tessa a hand. The premise is that the other party is willing to study with him. Willingness to improve bad habits. Willing to dedicate one's strength to the people. This is for himself, but also for Kawa City. What do you mean? Tessa burst into a state of preparation. The wizarding world is a world where power comes first. When there is a dispute, just fight it. Tessa also wanted to teach the arrogant guy in front of her a good lesson. You should be thankful that I wasn't in the academy when you made trouble a year ago, otherwise I would have beaten you up long ago. Will offended the snake people. Since then, the snake people have been full of hostility towards humans. I don't know how many apprentice wizards have been implicated in this. Don't dare to get close to the snakeman's territory when doing tasks. As a result, the ways to obtain magic stones suddenly decreased, and the difficulty of becoming a third-class apprentice increased a bit. For the culprit, Will, how could he not be resentful? As for the real Black Hand Saurus, no one dared to mention it. Saurus was born as a noble duke, with a strong bloodline and amazing talent. He is known as the genius who has the best chance of becoming an official wizard in a century. Who dares to offend such a person? Who dares to speak ill? All the resentment can only be poured on Will. I think you should calm down. Will is past the stage of using violence to solve problems. He prefers to convince people with reason. I am very calm thinking about how to beat you. I want to hear your wailing. You're begging for mercy. Tessa was already in a depressed mood when she was sent to the Kawa City resident. Will had bumped into himself just in time, and was sure to take a break from it. I can understand your mood, let's have a good talk, Will still wanted to persuade him. What do you understand? Tessa raised her leg and split the table in front of her in half. Tear. The tool wrapped around her body was torn into pieces, and her beautiful body was exposed to the air. Sit down. Seeing that the tense was about to lose control, as a last resort, Will controlled the demon seed to release a trace of coercion, covering Tessa. Tessa shuddered. The hairs all over his body were stirred up, his body was trembling constantly, and his expression was terrified, as if a mouse had met a cat. Tessa's feet gave way and she fell back on the chair. He raised his right hand tremblingly, pointed at Will in disbelief and said, You are the peak second-class apprentice? Will was only a first-class apprentice when he left the academy. Considering that Will earned a lot of magic stones by doing tasks for Saurus, he bought all the things needed for advanced second-class apprentices before leaving. 1 year later, he successfully advanced to a second-class apprentice. Very normal operation. She won't be surprised. Because she had also heard about Will's talent. Night cultivation base, learning spiritual skills, mental power has already reached the peak of second-class apprentices, and survived the hands of king-level monsters. Although the people in the academy hated Will, they had to admit that Will's talent was so powerful. If there were no accidents, Will would have a 90% chance of becoming a third-class apprentice. The problem is, what Will is showing now is not at the level of a newly advanced second-class apprentice at all. Can you control the demon seed perfectly? She didn't really know much about Will. Nor is it necessary to go out of your way to know a dead man. Are there still fewer wizard apprentices dying each year? Some died on the way to earn magic stones. Some are lifespan exhausted and die. Some are suicides. For those people and things, it is enough to understand a little bit, sigh a little, and make a joke, and there is no need to delve into it at all. So, she didn't know that Will's demon seed was the left eye. At first I thought it was a different pupil. How could you be the pinnacle second-class apprentice? Even if you study in the academy, it's impossible to be so fast. Will's performance was beyond her imagination. Is it worth being so surprised? My mental strength is already at the peak of a second-class apprentice, and my body training method is also very powerful, and I am also well known in the Mutual Aid Association. But, instead of continuing to struggle with this kind of thing, why not think about the future? In the future? Tessa smiled wryly. Will, who was originally looked down upon by her and destined to die at the end of his life, slapped her hard in the face now. She is the one who is really facing desperation and has no way out. Becoming a third-class apprentice still has a chance. Do you think I'm you? This is the calmness of genius. I can help you. As long as you are willing, you can get at least 30 intermediate magic stones per month. I don't know how to make potions. 30 intermediate magic stones per month, accumulated over 3 years, is not a small sum. The problem is she can't. Potions are not the only way to earn military merit. As he learned more about Kava City, he felt that there were too many ways to obtain military merit. As long as he thinks, it is possible to achieve 1,000 military merits every month. I can teach you the intermediate exercise method. I'm not bragging. In terms of the understanding of the exercise method, no one among the apprentices can match me. I can teach you how to use mental power. You should know that I know mental skills, right? Many third-class apprentices don't even know how to use mental skills. I can also point out all the difficulties you encounter in the process of cultivation, and guarantee that you will reach the peak of a second-class apprentice within 3 years. Tessa froze. What a tempting proposition is this? What do you want from me? As long as what Will said is true, as long as she can survive, she is willing to pay no matter what the price is, even if she sacrifices her dignity. I just need you to do your best to help Kava City, help the soldiers and civilians in the city, and do your part for Kava City to resist the Green Elves. What? Tessa looked at Will like a lunatic. Just this? Only this request? Don't need my body? Don't need me to be a slave? Don't need me to swear loyalty to you? Can you do it? Will asked. Why? Tessa was still puzzled. Maybe it's for compensation. Will remembered a person, the one named Tucci. The man who called himself his friend. The person who let him know the martial arts of knights, played with him, and spent his depressed time with him. At that time, he couldn't protect himself, so he could only watch Tucci stepping into the fire pit. If he had the current power and knowledge and access at that time, Tucci would not have to die. I promise you. Whatever purpose Will had, she didn't care. The big deal is death. Chapter 218. Lyde held the document in both hands, his pupils constricted, his hands trembled, and he could hardly hold the thin sheets of paper. What Kylan brought was the training plan formulated by Will. Most of the training programs are quite satisfactory, and there are still new ideas in many places. It can be seen that Will has really worked hard. But none of that matters. What really amazed Lyde was the training method inside. The training of the army mainly focuses on physical strength, discipline, and formation of troops, and occasionally teaches 1 or 2 sets of military boxing. For ordinary soldiers, boxing skills, knife skills, and sword skills are all secondary. On the battlefield, it is more about discipline and obedience. 100 well-disciplined and well-coordinated elite soldiers on the battlefield may not be weaker than 10 quasi-knights. Why not teach soldiers to breathe? Prevent soldiers from learning footwork, swordsmanship, and bodywork? It's not that I don't want to teach, but the income is too low. Most of the soldiers and knights are very poor in talent, and the best time for training has passed. After 10 years of practicing breathing techniques, they may not be able to do 1 against 2. The same goes for tricks. Moreover, there are crowds of people on the battlefield, and the moves are all chopping, and stabbing. There is no need to learn any other advanced skills. Military training is more about tempering will and strengthening discipline. Strengthening personal strength is secondary. The training plan given by Will is different, and it is formulated with the focus on strengthening the strength of soldiers. Among them, the main exercises are breathing exercises and gymnastics, which shocked Lida even more. Will really asked you to bring it to me? Lyde's mood was extremely complicated. Master Will said that you have rich experience in military training, and you may give good reference opinions. Kylan replied. Leave things to me first, I'll think about it. After watching Kylan leave, Lyd let out a long sigh. Breathing gymnastics? Is that so? Is this the special exercise practiced by the special envoys of the kingdom? No wonder their physique is so strong. Knight martial arts are very burdensome to the body. As the peak of the great knight, Lida dared not use it lightly. The existence of breathing gymnastics has brought Lyde into a whole new world. That is a cultivation method that has never been thought of before. It's actually a skill that can directly exercise the musculoskeletal muscles of the whole body. With it, my strength will definitely go further and become stronger. The desire to become stronger that had been given up was once again ignited. And this time is different. It was an unknown attempt before, and I don't know what it will become. As a result, 3 months later, he was deeply injured internally, his strength declined, and he could not recover without 20 years of recuperation. This time he has the correct cultivation method. You don't have to figure out how to become stronger anymore. Don't be afraid to go astray. Only. Looking at the paper that recorded the cultivation method, Will gave it to me. Will, his enemy, the object of his transcendence, the source of his struggle. Give me the breathing exercises. What exactly do you mean? For training? That's ridiculous. Is it possible to believe that he gave away his important exercises at will with such a clumsy reason? He gave it to me on purpose. Will's kindness, he understood. But his self-esteem could not accept such charity. With my own strength, can't I surpass you? Lida stared at his hands in a daze, feeling the sharp pain coming from all over his body. Although he is not reconciled, but relying on himself, he really can't find a way to become stronger. What kind of person are you? What do you want me to do for you? What is your purpose? The exercises Will gave him were just some superficial basics. At most, it can only work at the night level. The real advanced part of the exercises is not recorded. Do you want me to ask you for it? Do you want me to bow to you? Do you think I might submit to you? Thinking so, he also wanted to do it. But his heart was trembling. His eyes are always involuntarily aimed at the cultivation techniques on the table. He couldn't bear the temptation to become stronger. If it was before, he might still be able to reject Will with his tenacious will and strong self-esteem. But now it's different. He suffered internal injuries. The strength dropped sharply. In the next 2 decades, he was recuperating from injuries, and his strength could not go any further. Lid suddenly thought, Will, what kind of person is he? Come to think of it, he didn't know Will at all. His impression of Will still stays on the day of the military exercise competition. And the previous impression came from the previous special envoy of the kingdom. He knew nothing about Will himself. Karen hates the kingdom's special envoy even more than I do. Why does she respect Will so much now? What did Will do during these 3 months? Karen, he understands. Someone who can make Kylan so respectful is definitely not ordinary. Why don't you see what Will has done in 3 months? Before, he blocked all news related to Will. Thinking about it now, is it too arbitrary? Leaning back on the chair creaked and shook. Sit until dawn. At dawn, Lyde immediately asked for all the information about Will in the past 3 months. Refining life potions? Healing soldiers? Developing antidotes? The more he knew, the more confused he became. Will, what the hell is he trying to do? What Will has done, at first glance, seems to be beneficial to the army. Could it be that he is for the army? For the soldiers? For Kawa City? Lyde fell into deep thought. No, it's impossible, he is the special envoy of the kingdom. The more I think about it, the more confused I become. Walking around the house with the materials recording Will's information, he stopped to look at it from time to time, with an irritable expression on his face. What the hell does he mean? What conspiracy does he have? He can't be that kind. Finally, he couldn't sit still. Lid picked up the training plan Will gave him and paid a visit. What? Will refuses to see visitors? Wasn't breathing exercises the bait that Will had given him? Will should have guessed his arrival, right? Why don't you see him? Go and report again, saying that I'm here to visit him. Master Will is not free right now. Commander Lyde, you should go back first. We will notify you when Lord Will comes out. Lyde, who had a bad nose, left in a daze. He didn't manage to see Will until 5 days later. What do you think of my training plan? Is it possible to implement it? Do you want to find 2 or 3 people to experiment first? Will said immediately when they met. What do you think? Lyde was at a loss. Did Will not play cards according to common sense? Breathing exercise is a technique I improved and created. It has low talent requirements and low difficulty. It can be practiced up to the reserve knight level. If it can be popularized in the army, an army composed of reserve knights can be created. Will was talking to himself excitedly. Lyde's heart was shocked by Will's words. It turns out that breathing exercise is not a bait. He never thought of asking me to surrender. Everything he did was for the army and to protect the people. He didn't care about me at all, Ha ha, ha ha ha. For a moment, Lyde suddenly felt ridiculous. In front of Will, how despicable he is, how dirty his thoughts are. I lost. Lyde knelt down on one knee to Will. What's wrong with you? Will helped lit up in surprise, apologizing for the military drill before? I don't care about it a long time ago, you don't have to care about it. No, it's okay, just treat it like this. Lyd was completely convinced by Will. Is your body injured? The body was only touched, and Will could already feel the strangeness of Lyde's body. Did you suffer an internal injury? Was it caused by excessive practice? Well, I tried a little too hard. The injury is quite serious. Fortunately, you met me, otherwise you will be in trouble. Will proposed two solutions, two methods, one is to take magic medicine, and the other is to practice health regimen. I suggest you practicing health preservation methods can not only heal injuries, but also have great benefits in improving cultivation. The regimen is too slow to work. It doesn't matter, I have a set of 5 rounds of health regimen compiled by myself, combined with health medicine, it should be cured after half a year of recuperation. Then I'm not welcome. Chapter 219. Cairo Empire Territory. Located in the town of Lunt in Moonfall City, Doria Province. More than a dozen cavalry galloped towards Albert Castle on fast horses. The leader of the team was a handsome boy in his early 20s with flaxen hair and a precious sword made of Varian steel on his waist. Nickon, Big Will's 1-year-old brother. Now that Will is absent and Baron Leo has retired behind the scenes, Nickon has become the actual power holder of the Albert family. The drawbridge of Albert Castle was lowered and entered the castle on horseback. After setting up the horses and entourage, Nickon found Baron Leo in the study. Baron Leo flipped through the books sent by Will, and compared the turtle-sucking method, the pen tip kept sliding on the white paper. Father! Nickon greeted respectfully. Are you back? Baron Leo put down the pen in his hand and smiled at Nickon. Looking at the grey-haired and easy-going Baron Leo, Nickon couldn't help feeling deeply moved. The once powerful Baron Leo has disappeared. After Nickon sat down, he began to report the latest movements to Baron Leo. The enrollment of the night training base is over. A total of 17 students with good talents have been recruited. The urban and rural reserve guards have been further expanded, and the quality of personnel has also been improved to ensure that each team can have a reserve night. The gang of thieves entrenched in the eastern part of the Red Moon Forest was wiped out half a month ago. Will's customized channel excavation plan, road construction and the territory are almost done, and then we need to negotiate with other nearby families. Nickon reported the progress of this matter one by one. Baron Leo nodded while listening. After the end, Baron Leo asked, Nickon, you became a knight, right? Nickon raised his chest proudly, and said to himself, when we wiped out the thieves half a month ago, I realized something and successfully broke through the night. The 22-year-old knight is already a genius. The future is limitless, and it is almost inevitable to surpass Baron Leo. Baron Leo nodded his head in satisfaction, and laughed heartily, okay, he is indeed my son, ha ha ha. Compared to Will, I'm still far behind. Nickon was still very calm. It can't be compared with him. Will is the pride of Baron Leo, and Will's strength and fortune have exceeded his imagination. Nickon became a knight at the age of 22, and he is already a genius among geniuses. It is only a matter of time before he becomes the peak knight, and he is expected to be a great knight in the future. Even compared with the children of the Viscount family in the city, they are at the forefront. But compared with Will, it was still too far behind. At the age of 15, Will had already demonstrated the strength of a great knight. Now that 6 years have passed, how strong should Will be? Paladin? It shouldn't be that exaggerated, but there should be a peak knight. I don't know how Will is doing now. For Will, Nickon only has admiration and respect. He used to be jealous. When the difference in strength between the two is too far, the jealousy has completely disappeared, and there is only looking up. Will's turtle origin breathing method has been completely sent back, and I'm sorting it out now. Baron Leo pointed to the thick books on the table, there are too many words, and they have been kept confidential. Optimistically, it will take half a year to sort it out. Will is really amazing. He was able to create a more powerful breathing method called Kamejin Ryu based on the turtle breathing method. Nickon couldn't help sighing. The power of the tortoise suction method has already surpassed ordinary people's imagination. According to Will, it came from the breathing method taught by Paladin Lipe. Now Will has further strengthened on the basis of the turtle suction method, creating the turtle source flow. He had read some turtle sources before, and although they hadn't been compiled into a book, he had benefited a lot from it. He was able to advance smoothly this time because of the night, and the Kamemoto Ryu contributed a lot. Father, what is this book? There is another book on the desk, which is a relatively thin book called 5 Wheels of Health Regimen. This is the health regimen that Will asked someone to bring back this time. This book is not ordinary. Baron Leo caressed the writing of 5 Wheels of Health Regimen, with it, my hope of becoming a great knight, a little bigger. Relying on Kame-Yuan Liu, Baron Leo saw the hope of one step closer to strength. But he was old and broke another hand. It is too difficult to become a great knight. With the 5 Wheels of Health Regimen, it will be different. Conservatively, within 3 years, I can become a great knight. Baron Leo said excitedly. A great knight is the dream of every knight. Since he was sensible, Baron Leo's biggest dream, besides revitalizing his family, was to become a great knight. But the stronger the strength and the older he is, the more difficult it is to become a great knight. So much so that I finally gave up completely. I didn't expect to see another opportunity now. Family revitalization, becoming a great knight, 2 long-cherished wishes, I never thought they could be realized. Baron Leo said with emotion in his heart, it's good to live long. Nikken was no stranger to Will's surprise. Only. Will, what the hell is he doing? Turtle Source, 5 rounds of health regimen, medicine, fairy tale books, children's toys, children's enlightenment tutorial. There are too many things that Will sent back. Forget about such important things as kung fu potions. There are even storybooks and children's toys. Is Will free? Is he free? Drawing picture books with nothing to do every day? There is also the design drawing of the textile machine that was sent back earlier. What the hell is he learning? Nikken couldn't help complaining. 2 months ago, in addition to the usual books and medicines, among the items sent back by the Wilchuo people, there was also a design drawing of the textile machine. The blueprint for Winnie's spinning machine Will named it after his eldest daughter. Naya has already made that loom, and the first piece of cloth has been woven a few days ago. Baron Leo was also speechless about this matter. How about the woven cloth? Nikken had no doubts about Will's technology. No matter how good the cloth was woven by Winnie's loom, he would not be surprised. Produced by Will, it must be a boutique. The fabric can only be considered medium, nothing special. Baron Leo said. Hey? Nikken was extremely surprised. Impossible? Is that the blueprint that Will sent back? However, the weaving speed is much faster, about 50% faster than ordinary looms. Baron Leo added. It's really good. Nikken was still a little disappointed. The main reason is that the requirements for operators are much lower. Ordinary people who have never been in contact with it can learn to weave cloth by hand after only 10 days and half a month of training. The speed will not be too slow, and the quality of the cloth will not be too bad. Baron Leo said again. There is such a thing. Nikken suddenly widened his eyes. Sure enough, Will never let him down. I don't know if it is difficult to make the Winnie textile machine. Can it be manufactured in large quantities? Influenced by Will, Nikken's vision has become much more ambitious. Baron Leo had just finished speaking, and he had already guessed a thing or two about the significance of Winnie's loom. Naya is mainly responsible for this matter, and I'm not very clear about it. Baron Leo took out another book. This is the introduction to pranayama practice sent by Will, and Harvey has also arrived at the place where he practiced breathing techniques. You are old, go back and take a good look, and teach Harvey after a while. Nikken took the book respectfully, and sighed in his heart, how much does Will have to worry about? Chapter 220. Inside the Jalo School of Potions. Zero Potion Academy is located underground in the center of the Intis Forest, an area where the sun cannot shine. Accommodation area. In Will's room. Will has been out of the academy for over a year. But his room is still so tidy and clean, it doesn't look like no one lives there. In fact, people do live there. Sarah, the girl who studied totems with Will, lives in Will's room now. At this time, in the alchemy room of the room, a petite girl with a black frame and short shoulder-length hair was fiddling with bottles and jars. Pour the solutions of various colors into beakers. The whole room smells of medicinal herbs. Sitsaizi. A burning smell wafted from the beaker. Sarah frowned. Failed? Take out the notes and write down the refining process, techniques, and time one by one. Start to analyze why. Come here first today. Sarah checked the time, and it was time to practice. Before, she didn't care about cultivation at all. Because her blood is thin and the magic power contained in her body is scarce, she cannot complete the magic power quenching cycle of the intermediate body training method. To become a second-class apprentice, it takes dozens of times the time of others. She knew about her situation. Her family also knew about it. The family sent her to the academy just because they wanted her to conceive a child of a person with bloodlines, so as to increase the concentration of bloodlines in the family. Before, she was resigned to her fate. This is something that can't be helped. Who made her blood thinner? There are too many similar situations in the wizarding world. Even if they are descendants of official wizards, if the target is not someone with the same strong bloodline, after 2 or 3 generations, the bloodline will be greatly diluted. In order to ensure the concentration of blood, many big families marry close relatives. The problem is that when close relatives marry, the probability of physical problems in the offspring is too high. Marrying with other families, and fearing that the power of the bloodline will leak out, and the bloodline will be impure. Unless there are official wizards born in the family, the dilution of the blood is only a matter of time. Sarah is that kind of family. Thousands of years ago, official wizards appeared in her ancestors. Her family was once glorious, with the title as high as a duke, and even the king would bow his head and respectfully call out to Mr. Wizard when he saw her. However, less than 400 years after the death of that ancestor, the dukedom was lost. With the thinning of the blood, the strength is getting weaker and weaker, and the title is also declining. Now just a little viscount in a remote place. There are not many people in the family who have awakened blood. Now in the family, she actually has the highest blood concentration. Even so, it is still impossible to practice the intermediate body training method normally, and the magic power cannot even complete a body tempering. In such a situation, what else can I do but give up? Until I met Will. It turns out that the world is so big. Will told her that she had other options. Miracles are what the wizarding world lacks most, not to mention her situation does not need miracles at all. All you need is a small bottle of magic potion. The magic power potion is used by third-class apprentices to restore magic power. If you want to use the magic power potion to practice intermediate level body training and quench your body, the magic power potion must be specially made to suit your body. Many children from big families who don't have the talent for body training like to use magic potions to temper their bodies. The premise is that there is a magic potion that is suitable for your body. There are many magic potions in the academy. It is mainly the magic power of the mainstream ground blaster, leopard, night magic eye and so on. It is not so difficult to find a magic potion that suits you, especially for bloodlines. Either find a relationship. Either spend a lot of magic stones. In fact, she also wants to become stronger, also wants to cultivate, and knows the existence of magic potion. The problem is that she has no way out. The magic potion is a high-level potion, and there are only a handful of people in the academy who can refine it, and she doesn't know anyone. The family is just a little viscount in a remote area, and there are not many magic stones. What can she do? She is also very desperate. Then Will gave her hope. The magic potion worth a high-level magic stone was given to her casually. She was then introduced to Mentor Volteri, a noble and great formal wizard. Being able to get in touch with Mentor Vertelli was something she never dared to think about before. You know how to make potions? Are you talented in potions? In the future, you can help me instead of Will. Teacher Vertelli is better at speaking than expected. After getting along for a while, I found out no. Instructor Vertelli is just a helper, as long as it is capable, no matter who it is. Every quarter, the Academy assigns a large number of potion tasks to Instructor Vertelli. The number is so large that it is almost impossible to complete. Who made Teacher Vertelli the only official potion master? Although there are a lot of potions allocated to Vertelli's instructor, as long as she spends more time, she can actually complete it. Why take the time? A wizard's time is precious. Except for a small number of urgent and special ones, which only she can refine, so what if the rest can't be completed? You bite me? Originally, Vertelli thought so, and has always done so. Until Will arrives. With Will's arrival, there is a tendency to complete the share allocated by the Academy. Vanity, Volteri still has some. The task can be done, why not do it? Anyway, she is the one who benefits, and the others are the ones who suffer. She just needs to lie down and accept the salary from the academy. Will was leaving, and Valtteri was still a little bit disappointed. I heard that Will recommended someone to replace him? It's okay to try again. Sarah didn't disappoint Will and Valtteri. Sarah's talent in pharmacy is mediocre, but her ingenuity makes up for the lack of talent. With the help of Will's notes and the guidance of Wizard Vertelli, Sarah's potion science progressed amazingly, no slower than Will's progress. But she didn't learn potions under the guidance of instructor Valtteri. She helped Mentor Vertelli refine potions, and Mentor Vertelli helped her refine magic potions as a reward. Inside the room, Sarah sat cross-legged on the bed and took out a bottle of magic potion. This is the last bottle. After drinking this bottle, I can successfully advance to a second-class apprentice. After a long time of hard work, we have finally reached this point. Grunt. Down the magic potion in one gulp. Feel the magic flowing from the stomach to the whole body. This feeling is all too familiar to her. Quickly carry out the intermediate body training method, control the magic power to run along the established route in the body, and temper the body. Sarah's intermediate exercise method was taught by Will. Will's intermediate body training method is at the master level, and Sarah's talent is also good, and her IQ is high, so she learns very quickly, and her cultivation speed is faster than that of ordinary first-class wizards. The magic power is gradually consumed. When the magic power was exhausted, she also successfully advanced to the second-class apprentice. Feel the changes in your body. Is this the power of a second-class apprentice? Doesn't it feel very powerful? Her bloodline ability is not combat type. She herself has never learned breathing techniques or sword skills, nor has she had combat experience. So don't look at her as a second-class apprentice now, her combat power may not be as good as that of a peak knight. Next, it's time to find that person. Sarah took out the letter of introduction written by Vertelli's mentor, and on the envelope was written big word Bloom.